Take a look what happened.
The past. We need to talk about the future. There are many countries now who want to use guilt to try and exploit the UK. They ask for reparations. I saw it as a trade minister. It's not culture wars. I was at the WTO. I won't name the minister from another country. And he was telling me that we needed to give up some of the things that we were doing because of colonialism and because they needed time to develop. These arguments are a scam. Don't fall for it. We need to make sure that we put this country first. We work well with our neighbors. We work well with other countries, but we have to look after ourselves too.
Quietly, you drag other people, create nuisance, make the entire world to look at Nigeria as a country that you can't stay there and have peace, you can't stay there and enjoy, you can't stay there and be free. You will get money, Tayo Aina. You that you are a successful YouTuber. That is what you want to leave behind for your country. That is the reputation you want to give your country after the country has made you who you are. I don't understand why you Nigerians continue to tolerate and accept this kind of people. See, Nigeria is the only country where people, they abuse freedom of speech. The Nigerians abuse freedom of speech so much. This is the height of it. You cannot tell me that your family will feed you, take care of you, raise you to the point where you are now okay, you cannot stand on your ground. You will not turn back and tell the whole world with your millions of subscribers. You are not telling them to avoid Nigeria. You are not telling them you cannot stay in Nigeria and be happy. You are not telling the whole world you cannot stay in Nigeria and be peaceful after Nigeria has raised you. It's not fair now.
Believe we can pull it off, but we did. And, it is a great satisfaction to me personally as a person and also to the organization. So I think we've done very, very well, and there are quite a lot of things when you look at where we're coming from, Nigeria being an oil-producing country, and we've been importing petroleum products for the last 35 years. It just doesn't make sense.
I mean, from the outside, it looks quite difficult. Any regrets?
I think
$1 billion is of Russian background. Rupert Murdoch, the chief executive of News Corp, is of Australian descent. Madeleine Albright, who became the United States Secretary of State, was of Czech origin. Steve Chen, the co-founder of YouTube, is originally from Taiwan. Immigrants build nations and immigrants build civilizations. One of the men in the front seat here has a thriving business in Namibia. He lived in Australia for over a decade, adding value to the Australian economy. Hence, there is a need for us to respect and cherish immigrants. Migrants are the source of life in all societies. Rishi Sunak, the former British Prime Minister, is originally from India. A very brilliant young man. He never denigrated his nation of ancestry, nor poured venoms on India. Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the British Labour or Conservative Party. We are proud of her, in spite of her efforts at denigrating her nation of origin. She is entitled to her own opinions. She has even every right to remove the Kemi from her name. But that does not underscore the fact that the greatest black nation on earth is the nation called Nigeria. 1 out of every 3-4 black men is a Nigerian. And by 2050, Nigeria will surpass the United States, will be the 3rd most populous nation on earth. 1 out of every 3 black men will be a Nigerian.
appeared the richest individual in the world, Elon Musk. And Trump has given Musk the new Department of Government Efficiency Agency to run. But the billionaire is throwing his weight around, it seems, even before the president-elect takes office in January. Musk is reportedly making sure his views are being heard loud and clear. He actively participated in wrecking a bipartisan Congress deal to avert a U.S. government shutdown. On Wednesday, Tesla and SpaceX CEO, in a post on his social media platform X, attacked the bill in what became a barrage of posts. The 53-year-old wrote, "This bill should not pass," and kill the bill.
Due Israel in this body for apologizing for our support for Israel. There's no apology to be made. None. It is the best $3 billion investment we make. Were there not an Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect her interest in the region. The United States would have to go out and invent an Israel. The second part is people should understand by now, this should be crystal clear, that Israel is the single greatest strength America has in the Middle East. I always say to my friends when they say those things to you, I say, imagine our circumstance in the world were there no Israel. How many battleships would there be? How many troops would be stationed? You know, I used to say early on when I was a kid, I'd say, when I was a young senator, I'd say, if I were a Jew, I'd be a Zionist. I am a Zionist. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist.
Progress occurs in the Middle East when everyone knows there's simply no space between the United States and Israel. There is no space between the United States and Israel when it comes to Israel's security. There is only one nation in the world that has unequivocally, without hesitation, and consistently confronted the efforts to delegitimize Israel. At every point in our administration, at every juncture, we've stood up on behalf of the legitimacy of the state of Israel. The security of Israel and the United States is inextricably tied, and we will never, ever, ever abandon Israel out of our own self-interest. I also emphasize what I
Thank you for joining me this evening. Welcome to all the viewers from every corner of the world. Greetings to you all. I'm doing this live stream, based on the title, to a kind of review the past year and more importantly, what this year is going to be holding for our people and the prospects for the world in the year 2025. This is an important year, and for a lot of different reasons. Trump is back fully with full support and full force. Trump is back. And Nigeria, you can almost argue that Nigeria is coming back. I think the last year, if not for the floating of the currency, by far the last year was the best year for Nigeria, with Dangote refinery coming on stream, with the two refineries, two other local refineries coming to life too. So there are good things that happened last year, and what is that going to mean for this year? What is the prospect? So that's what we are going to be talking about today. Also, I would like to start the show, for want of a better word, I don't know what I would call it, a show, more of a presentation of the outlook for the year of 2025 with the national anthem of the Nigerian state. And so let's just listen to it and before we commence. Thank you.
patriots, Nigerians go back to serve our fatherland in love and strength and faith. Labor, our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Oh God, a free nation, direct our noble cause. Lead us right, help our youth the truth to know. In love and honesty to grow and live in just and true. To build a nation where
All right, that is it. Yes. So now, I think I will start off with reviewing the year of 2014, and I will cover from the point of view of geopolitics, from the point of view of the Black community, and from the point of view of Africa and specifically Nigeria, given all the events that has occurred in the last 1 year. Quite an interesting year for Africa, actually. Quite a remarkable year for. I think the only other year that was this remarkable would be, I think, was it 2000, the year of return in Ghana, that I would consider anything as momentous as this last year. There has been very, very few strategic changes that has occurred in Africa in the last 20 years. And I would say one of them is the Ethiopian dam that was built, even against a lot of forces around the world not wanting it to be done. That is a big one. There is also the one for the Nigerian refinery coming on stream. That is another big one against a lot of interests that didn't want it to come to fruition, knowing the consequences. From what I gather, a lot of refineries around the world are packing up shop, knowing full well that a lot of African countries will now be procuring their petroleum products from Nigeria. So you can see the change that will mean. There is also the demand, the strain on the Nigerian foreign exchange reserve, because of the demand to be able, that's the demand of the dollar, so we can be able to procure petrol. In the past, But now that demand is coming down because, of course, the Dangote refineries in Nigeria, and there are 2 other refineries that have come on stream in Nigeria in 1 year. That is remarkable. In 1 year, after almost 25 years of no major refinery in Nigeria, we have about 3 working in 1 year. So that is quite a remarkable change. And we also look at the man of the year globally, and we'll also look at the man of the year in Africa. Then we'll also look at one in Nigeria. That after that, then we are also going to look at some of the worst characters. I don't think it's I'm not sure it will be fair to put the worst character on only one person. I don't think any one person has won the worst character of the year last year completely, because there's a lot of bad things that happened last year. A lot of bad things happened last year. So there's a lot of people that some people will consider to be quite, awful people that did a lot of awful things. And the last year for me, geopolitically, has been the most, that it's got a lot of high tension. It's not the same as the Iraq war. It's not the same as the war that happened after, a war in Afghanistan, because this one is struggle between powers now, and I think it's been a long time we've seen that. So that is going to be interesting to cover. Then we talk about some of the issues that we have been having with the Nigerians. This Nigerian thing that we do, bad mouthing Nigeria like crazy. And this year it has come to a head for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why it has come to a head. It's like maybe it's the southern Nigerians that badmouth Nigeria so much. Because let's face it, it's rarely you see northern Nigerians doing that. It's the southern Nigerians that are doing it. So could it be because the southern president is in office now that they are challenging this attitude of Nigerians? The way we badmouth the country constantly, we are beginning to challenge ourselves. Why are we doing it? Why do we go so far with what we are doing? Even Kemi Badenoch became a big deal in the context of Nigeria, because she was also a kind of saying negative things about Nigeria. Then if you move from there, you also notice that there was another positive story of sorts with what's her name, Chidinma of South Africa, given how badly she was treated. Nigerians, this is one thing Nigerians do best. It's a very strange aspect of Nigeria, and Nigerians are not often proud of that. Nigerians can pick somebody up from the ground and elevate them to great heights. And Kemi Badenoch saw this while she was bad-mouthing her country. She saw Nigeria pick up a Nigerian that has hardly been in Nigeria ever, but because they were treating her so badly, just because he had a Nigerian name, she had a name that sounded Nigerian. Nigerians picked her up and elevated her to great heights. That is one thing Nigerians do very well that we don't seem to take enough credit for. We've been doing this for a long time. Nigerians took pay cut to support South Africans during the time of apartheid. We had what they call Mandela tax to do that. Then you look at what the Nigerians did in Liberia and Sierra Leone. But nobody, Nigerians don't see the good side of some of the good things Nigeria does. I'm not saying that we don't have a lot of problems. We do. Look at we have a lot of problems, so we know that. But it looks like there's something happening this year or last year. I mean, that people are pushing back against this negative narrative that Nigerians are pushing. Even foreigners are pushing back against Nigerians. Why are you doing this? So that will be interesting. I'm not sure we're going to cover it that much because we've had that conversation quite a lot last year. Where most of the trajectory will go is let me see what I can show our man here, our president. Our president seems to be very, very keen on the French lately. So we are going to be covering that and what that means for us. For the life of me, I do not fully understand why. Maybe there is a reason. I don't think the president is unaware that the French have had long relationship with many African countries that are doing terribly. They are doing real terribly. So he knows. So then why is he talking to them? Is it that they are reaching a new deal that will elevate the entire continent? We'll see. We'll see. Maybe it's true. Maybe that's what he's trying to do. So I'm not going to fully judge yet until I see something concrete on the ground that he has agreed to. And, you know, a lot of northern Nigerians are not very happy with it. They feel like he is looking to use the Nigerian territory to destabilize other African nations. And for the life of me, I don't see how he can do that successfully. And if he does that, he better be ready that he's not going to be in the presidency for very long. He's going to be likely be kicked out. So I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible. I think this is the 22nd minute now. We have played some of the reels already regarding the top people of the year. So if I'm to appoint the man of the year of the last year, I think most people will agree that the man of the year for last year is like it should be. Let's see. Let me put him up. The man of the year, international man of the year last year. Can anybody guess? Because I cannot even see one chat message. What is going on? I can't even see one chat message. Who is there? There's nobody there out there. So I want to check for the man of the year for 2024. I want to highlight him now. This is the man of the year for 2024. Clearly, this man has defied all expectations and logic. President Trump has gone from being a convict to a president. This is something that is impossible in Nigeria. We know that. This is impossible in Nigeria to become. As a matter of fact, part of the reasons a lot of people consider President Tinubu illegitimate is because they think he's got criminal convictions. And I've never subscribed to that, because all the countries that we claim we are trying to copy their governance systems, they don't have that in their constitution. Anybody can run for presidency because they consider the citizens sovereign. You can't use, because the person is a little bit a convict, not to allow him to be a president, or because the person is disabled, they are not allowed to be a president. In most Western nations, it doesn't matter. As long as the people choose, that is going to be your president. And President Trump, from nowhere, has come to win an election, against. You can't even make it up. You cannot make it up. How does a convict beat a prosecutor in an election where mothers, fathers, Christians, and all kinds of religious people voted in that election? How can a convict beat a prosecutor? But we've seen it happen. And I guess we've seen it all now. We've seen it all. Now, there is nothing else that should shock you in this world anymore. And the question you have to ask yourself is, I always tell the Democrats this: if Trump won the election, what does that tell you? What does that tell you that you are doing wrong? That you brought a prosecutor to run against a convict, a convict that is awaiting his sentence, and yet the convict won that election. That should tell you something. And now Trump is in office, and Trump represents one thing only. He represents his own personal interest. Oh, it's not one thing, it's actually two. He represents his own interest, and he represents white interests. That's what he's there for. And that's what Elon Musk, his now best friend, is also there to do. They want to build their own people up. They are not there to, build other people up. So Trump is the man of the year, and I think it's undisputed. I don't know who else you can name as the man of the year. There is no one else that can beat that. This man survived 2 assassination attempts, survived being convicted. Jesus Christ, you can't even make it up. What else do you want to throw in the way of somebody? What else do you want to throw in their way for him not to run for office. Still, he surpassed all that and went on to be a president. I'll be sharing the link, Babaji. Just hold on. I just want to cover some of these topics so that we can now just analyze them further. So this is the magic of Trump here. And he's a remarkable individual. Say whatever you like about him. I was one of those people that felt like Trump is just, he's selfish. He has admirable qualities. He's funny. He says some crazy stuff. But I also know that he doesn't represent my interest. And not that it matters. Neither does the Democrats. The Democrats are even more diabolical to me. So that is not my reason for judging him the man of the year. I think he's a remarkable individual that has a kind of revealed, he has opened the curtain, the dirty curtain, the hidden spaces that most people don't think about in politics. That all this is about power. All this is about pretense. In many cases, many of your leaders lie to you, like to your face. They will just lie to you, and they will tell it, they make themselves seem like they are more innocent than anything else. But look at this now. A convict, they have so many cases against him right now, and they've convicted him of other things in civil cases already. This guy has lied. He has not paid his taxes. He's not done anything. And yet the people voted for him. Because the other people, they are worse. The other people were worse. That's why they voted this man the man of the year in America, and the man of the year in the world. I don't see any man that surpasses him in the world. This is a man that took a bullet, and this is minutes after that bullet. I don't think it was more than 2 minutes after taking a bullet, dodging that bullet. I don't think he dodged it. It's just out of luck, really. And this is what he's doing. You have to respect that. You just have to. You don't have a choice, because this is something that he did instinctively. That tells you the character of the man when the cameras are not on, when he is pushed against the wall. That is a trait that anyone would want to embrace. I really wish a lot of our leaders have this type of trait. I get the feeling that our leaders, when they see this sort of stuff, they will just kowtow and dodge and hide, or start begging for their life. And then I was seeing this sort of trait in a lot of, higher ups. When you see all these higher ups, you think they are all very, very scared of anything. They are not that scared as much as people think. That's what made them what they are. You think to be a rich man and a powerful person is easy. It's not easy. A lot of people are after you. So that is the man of the year without a doubt. If I'm to look for now, he deserved it. And internationally, if I'm to, I don't know, that's my own choice. I think other viewers and these panelists will come and give us their own choices. And this is mine. And this is this stream's choice for man of the year. And the worst people of the year, I can't name one person as the worst people, worst set of. The reason why I say worst people, because I can't name one person as the worst man of the year or worst woman of the year. Because, man, this year has a lot of bad people. I mean, the last year, there's a lot of horrible things that happened last year that, oh my God, a lot of bad people, bad actors, mischievous people were really in the driving seat last year. Unbelievable. So now let's go to international bad men of the year. So I will go with number one. Let's get this one. Number one, Joe Biden. Joe Biden was one of the worst human beings for me in the last year. My God, this man caused so much trouble. He funded the war in Gaza till today. He literally brought the world close to a world war. He authorized Ukraine to fire long-range missiles into Russia, a nuclear power. because his gamble is that Russia will not ever use nuclear weapons. What kind of gamble is that? You are gambling 8 billion people's lives on Russia will not use nuclear weapons. Yeah, he earned that position, all right. This guy was almost putting the entire world in danger with his actions. I don't know what's wrong with him. Maybe because he's old, he doesn't think that he's going to be around for so long, so he wants to drag everybody with him. He is just been trashing and kicking and killing left and right. This is why he backs Israel to the hilt, even if Israel is breaking so many international laws. He doesn't care. They come on TV, they will lie. They pretend as if they are doing the right thing, but they are not. They will talk about negotiating for peace. He is not. Instead, they are planning their next escalation. They even gave us a new term for it. What is it called? What is it called? That one again? I forgot the term. Is it de-escalation through escalation? Or something like that. That's the new term that they use. They are trying to calm the war down by escalating it further. That is their term for it. They created a new term. It's like somebody saying, I have my own facts. You know, like facts are no longer objective. The alternative facts. Was it not Sarah Palin that said something about alternative facts, or one of these Republican? That was former Trump spokeslady that said something about having alternative facts. That is what Biden administration managed to do. De-escalation through escalation. That is their term. We reach peace by increasing the war further. And hence, we are still at war right now. For the last 2 months, the Gazans have been bombed and killed just at will. I mean, that's Israel is just killing them at will. Now. There's no method to it. Now. They're just killing and destroying hospitals just whenever they feel like. They're just destroying whatever they like now, and that is what is going on. And do you see this? They don't even cover it anymore on the news. That is another strange one. The news don't even cover it anymore. Israel just kills at will now. Now I will share this in this is why when I'm choosing somebody, I have to give reason, why I am choosing it, because it's not going to be fair for me to just choose somebody and not give my reasoning. This is why I am saying what I'm saying. So I will show you some of the stuff going on in that, what this president has enabled. So look at this. Look at what is going on in Gaza right now. Because the Western media, they don't cover it anymore. They don't even bother anymore. It's like, what is the point? We're just committing genocide and massacres every day. They don't even bother covering it anymore. Now look at Al Jazeera covering it. Even Al Jazeera is even covering what is going on in America, all the news, and also covering what Israel is doing. This one is probably just today. Israel strike kills dozens. Not one, not two, no, 12 times something. Dozens of Palestinians as North Gaza hospital raided. This is what has been happening for the last 2 months. Every single day there is killing of Israel, this in Gazans. And the Western media, if I go to the Western media now, you are not going to see one coverage of it at all. It's like it never happened. Like, what Gaza? What happened in Gaza? Nothing happened. We don't know. Gaza is just going just fine. That's how they look at it. They don't even see that there is any problem going on in Gaza at all. And that is a sad tale or a sad state of affairs. Let me see if I can put it up so that you see how the West has completely, and our people, we really have to be careful, because these people, they are ruthless. When they want to cause so much trouble, they are completely ruthless. Nobody will cry for you in their territory. They will be killing your people, slaughtering your people, and they will keep quiet as if they don't know what is happening. Now, let me show you what is going on in CNN. Now, this is CNN. These are people that are funding that war that is going on in Gaza. Do you see any coverage about it at all? Nothing about what is going on in Gaza. These are people that are funding it to the hilt. And it's like it's not happening. The media has gone completely. And we talk about democracy. I think this is why these reviews are good. In our country, we talk about democracy all the time, the rule of law. Oh, the government is oppressing this, the government is oppressing that. How do you explain what is happening now in America if journalists are objective? Israel has killed at least, if I'm not mistaken, 1,000 health workers and at least 200 journalists. At least 200 journalists. Do you see their fellow journalists crying for them in the West? No, 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 no. And these are not black people. Oh. These are Arabs that they are killing. And look at how they are treating them. I see it's non-existent. Now I will show you. I will show you what's happening in Gaza again, so that you see the contrast between the two. It's like day and night, like nothing. Look at the bomb that is exploding there. That is the bomb in the background exploding that they are not covering in the West at all. Like nothing is going on. Man, when the West wants to use their kind of what they call it dictatorial and authoritarian power, we don't even see it. Because we just think it's all freedom and lovely and flowers. No, this is authoritarian. If you want to see Western authoritarianism, this is how you know it. You see it dead in your face. It's not there. If I go to BBC now, BBC will hardly even mention it. And BBC is funded by the public. This is a channel that is actually funded by the public. They hardly mention it at all. I don't even think it's even on the front page of the news channel. This is something we have to be learning from, because if we don't learn from all these things, we might be susceptible to it too in the near future. My system seems to be packing up. I don't know whether enemies of progress have come to try to slow things down here. I don't know what's going on my system. So yeah, it's back on now. So I don't know what you saw there. So, but this is the BBC website. As you can see, barely anything about Gaza going on there. At least the BBC have the decency to have a link for it in case you are interested. You know, if you are interested in covering the news of Gazans getting destroyed, you can do that. You see, police chief among 40 reportedly killed in Israeli strikes on Gaza. That's 40. Just in one day alone has just been killed. And this conflict is one of the conflicts that I consider the most evil in the world. Not because it's the most bloody, really, in terms of, casualties. I don't think it's the most bloody. Although if you take it over the years, all accumulatively from 1945 to date, maybe probably it will pass for that, but it's not because it's the most bloody. It's because it's the most continuous, deliberate conflict that just kept alive for whatever reason Americans want it. That's why it's alive. It's not because the conflict is necessary. It's not a necessary conflict. So that is what I wanted to highlight. This is why I am trying to justify why Biden was chosen as one of the worst people of 2024. And I cannot be more glad to see the back of that president. He is a horrible, horrible leader. He enabled the Ukraine war to start and triggered a global cost of living crisis. A war that did not need to happen at all. All you had to say was Ukraine should not join NATO. That's all. You start a war because of that, because Ukraine asked you to join the war. If Nigeria asked to join NATO, would you agree? You think Nigeria is not like NATO? If Nigeria want to join NATO, come down, allow us to join NATO now. Who is going to start to fight you? They will not agree for us to join, no, but they are willing to kill so many people. Do you know how many people have died in the Ukraine war? How many soldiers have lost their lives? Hundreds of thousands. Because of this man. Because he is headstrong and he wants to fight Russia. You want to fight a nuclear power. What, you want to kill us? I don't know what the point is. How do you beat Russia? They think they're going to fall and die with all their nuclear weapons? That is why he is one of the worst human beings I've seen. And you can see his rationale for doing some of the things he did with Israel, because he's always been very, very pro-Israel president. Let me see where I can find it even, because he's been very, very adamantly pro-Israel. You know, where is this image even? Let me see. Where's that image of him again? Biden. So yes, and his partner in crime is this Netanyahu. You see, Netanyahu has been trying to, do away with the Palestinians in the Gazan territory for a long time, and this attack gave him the opportunity to do that. And I must say, he also wanted to deal with Hezbollah, maybe even Syria, and that also a kind of aligns with the U.S. interest too, because the U.S. don't like any of those people too. So he gave them the opportunity to do that with what Hamas did, which Hamas attacking Israel the way they did, I don't think is justified. I don't know why some people try to say, Hamas should not have to prove its way of being resisting occupation. I don't know why that is the case. Why, just because you are being oppressed doesn't mean you should go and do something bad too. Why? Why? Because you could just go after military targets. Why go after civilians? Why kidnap civilians? You see what I mean? You like Russia now. Russia, when Ukraine and Russia are fighting, they captured each other's soldiers. I don't think Russia is there looking for civilians to capture. So I don't know why Hamas needed to do that, because you could easily have taken soldiers and went after only military targets. If you want to oppose Israeli occupation, which from what I gather, the UN gives them the right to do. But why go after civilians? So Hamas has its own questions to answer for what they did. And for better or for worse, look at what has happened to their people because of this now. Who knows where it's going to end? Maybe it needed to happen, but they didn't have to attack civilians. And anybody that wants to oppose have any cause to oppose, please leave civilians out of it. Hardly do civilians even understand those things. They just want to get on with their lives. I mean, most of them are busy thinking about how their child is going to survive. Some of them, they are ill. Some of them are they have pregnant wives. The mothers are they are going to do burial. Some of them are getting christening. Some of them are attending graduation ceremonies. Civilians don't care necessarily about these things. So if you want to oppose, if you want to fight for a cause, leave innocent civilians out of it. And I don't understand it. Why do almost all resistance groups do that? They go after civilians. Why do they do that? It just takes away from your cause. It takes away from the legitimacy of your cause. You feel like you just go attacking civilians solves anything. It doesn't. But that's what Netanyahu is doing now. Just killing civilians now. Because to them, when they kill civilians, they are punishing the other people. That is the mindset that is going on. And that's what he's doing. He's torturing the Palestinians, killing them. And he has said it in one video that I played in other streams, where he said that the Palestinians, they need to be made to feel a lot of pain, that they've not felt enough pain yet. So the idea was to get them to leave that land. Man, I have to respect the Palestinian people themselves. The Gazans themselves. My God, the suffering those people have endured. I don't know how many people can endure that. I'm not even sure any people can endure that in the world if they have a choice. These people have endured all kinds of torture, constant bombardment, constant killing, children, women, men, anybody, patients, journalists, humanitarian workers, pastor, Christian, Muslim, they're all getting killed in that territory. And the people that are doing it are bloodthirsty and angry people. You can say whatever you like about Netanyahu or Israelis. The only slack I'll cut them is that they are angry. is that they see Palestinians killing their people. You know, they see people like Hamas, Islamic Jihad coming in and attacking their people and killing them. A lot of Israelis have lost loved ones to these groups. So they are angry. They may not be right with the way they are trying to express their anger, but they are angry. Just like Hamas is angry to attack them. So both sides are doing something wrong. That is why I consider Biden to be a big, big, horrible human being. He's a horrible, horrible human being. And I must say, Americans have always been like that with this conflict. They are using it to advance their own interests. They don't care who they slaughter, who they kill along the way. That's why Biden is one of the worst. And the next one is Netanyahu himself. I don't even know for the life of me why Biden has not been indicted by the International Criminal Court. I guess they are scared. you know, there are different levels to everything. You go and indict Biden, and Biden decides to send his troops to Hague. That is going to be funny to watch. Who is going to stop him? Who is going to stop the US if he decides to send the troops to Hague to completely shut the court down? Nobody. So that could explain why the Hague decided that, you know what, let's focus on Netanyahu. I think technically their reasoning is that I think it's because the US is not a signatory to the ICC, International Criminal Court, and the connection between Israel, that's the US and Palestinian, is not as close because the US is not doing it directly. So partly maybe that's why they are not going after the US, but at least they have a good reason to go after Israel, because Israel is attacking a signatory to the ICC. So there you go. These are Netanyahu is a horrible, horrible human being, and so is Biden. Who else would we call a horrible human being? I think one can also say these two cannot be said to be very nice people. Nasrallah, I think Nasrallah is slightly different to an extent, and I don't know too much about Assad to pass full judgment, but I know his people don't. A lot of his people don't like him. I don't know how many likes him. He's a secular leader. You know, in the Arab world, it's not always very easy to be secular. His country, he ran it where Christians can cohabit with Muslims and other groups. So, you know, that's interesting because all these leaders that are secular are the ones that are being destroyed. Like Saddam Hussein is secular too. They wiped him out. But Saudi Arabia, that is not secular, is the one that they are preserving, you know. But Qatar is not secular. They are preserving those ones. But the ones that are actually allowing Christians to survive freely, the Americans are against them. If you look at even Israel that they are supporting, Israel is against Christians. Israel that America is supporting is against Christians. They don't care for Christians. They only Jews is what they care about. So look at Nasrallah. Why I don't. It's not very clear that Hezbollah is attacking civilians. It's not very clear. That is my take on it. Because if they were attacking civilians, most of their victims would be civilians. But it's not. Most of their civilian victims tend to be military targets. So Hezbollah may be doing certain things that can be said to be more in conventional conflicts. But they did get civilians to evacuate northern Israel, if I'm not mistaken. It's northern Israel. Yeah, they got them to evacuate because they are fighting with Israeli military. Assad, on the other hand, I can't fully judge him. After all, I think he kind of inherited that position. But I think if you have to judge him, you judge him from the grounds that how did he not manage to bring his country together? After all, he is the leader. How did he not manage to do that? He was fighting with the Kurds, and the Kurds connived with the Americans to divide his country. And where the Kurds are, I think is where most of the oil in Syria is located. So Syria was cut off from his oil, cut off from some parts of his population with the Kurds. and then have other terrorist groups in other territories within its area without doing anything about them. They had an agreement with the UN to reach a peace agreement, a peace kind of treaty with the different groups, so that they can be able to carry out an election and a new leader will be elected, which he could have won, but he didn't do that. And for the life of me, I still don't know why that didn't happen. Maybe there's a justifiable reason for that, but he didn't do that. So that we'll still be looking out for. These two guys, I'm not going to consider them the worst people on the face of the earth, because they are failures. They failed their people, and America, to an extent, made some progress in terms of, if you want to look at it from the point of view of geopolitics that we are talking about, America made some gains, because now the people that are ruling or controlling Syria are basically their allies, isn't it? Even if one of them is a terrorist, former terrorist, Al-Qaeda or terrorist, one of them is their ally now. And this, again, for our people, this is why our prospect, we have to be thinking. These terrorist groups that were once Al-Qaeda, at the matter of fact, maybe they were also linked to ISIS, America is now working with them. Let me repeat, America is working with former Al-Qaeda now. When you call former Al-Qaeda, it's not like they suddenly changed their religion. They are still the same religion. It's just that they now say that they are more refined, they are not going to be killing people, and they are not going to declare that America is their enemy anymore. So technically, they've changed from that point of view. Even if they are still the same organization, I don't think they've even renounced the name of the organization. They are still part of that organization. So now, America is working with them. And this is something that African countries need to learn. You can't be allowing foreign or any kind of terrorists to remain in your territory. Don't let that happen. Don't let it even start. Never let it start. You let it start, you're going to have a big problem on your hand, because foreigners will come in and tap into those people and use them as a way of controlling your government. Because if your government don't do, because Assad wasn't doing what the West liked. He wasn't doing what the West liked. So that's why they punished him with those terrorist groups. The same thing African leaders have to learn. If you see that there are groups forming in your territory, make sure you do away with them as quickly as possible, so that they don't use them against you. And many of our people in Nigeria right now, like some people in the Southeast, I believe in breaking up the country, they are basically instruments for our destruction if the Westerners decide to tap into them. They are always a control mechanism against our own state. And if you are one of those people, you need to think twice. No matter what this will offer you, don't take it, because in the end, you're going to be poorer for it. Watch what happens with Syria. Let's see whether they're going to be any richer for it. So we're going to leave that for now. So now let me see what else happened the last year. Who else is a bad actor last year? Now, in short, I'll go back now. I think I've named some of the bad actors. Who else is a bad actor last year? Is it Putin? Putin is a kind of neutral. He's just fighting the Ukrainians. He gave them a lot of chance not to go to that war. So I'm not going to name him one of the worst characters. Who else in Africa? I would say the generals in the Sudan war. Sudan war generals are horrible set of people. Horrible set of people. They've caused so many loss of life in Africa, and needless loss of life too. All of them, they are just being funded by different parts of some people say that they are being funded from the Middle East, in the Middle East. So they are the ones causing a lot of the problem going on in in Sudan. And a lot of black Muslims are getting killed in Sudan because of these people, their wars. So these generals are a problem in the context of this thing. Let me show their image so that we can recognize them. You see them? This set of mumus that can't learn that if they leave Africa, they will be seen as black. They still think that one is Arab, the other one is not, and they are fighting for whatever stupid reason they are fighting for, and debilitating their people's chances of development. What a shame, because Sudan used to be one of the greatest nations on earth. You know, the kingdom of Kush, Nubia, all those ancient kingdoms were once in that region. And look at them today, just fighting each other. And most concerning to us is that they are killing a lot of black Muslims because they are not Arabs. You know, my northern brothers in Nigeria, I hope you are paying attention, though, because when you are putting your religion first and killing your fellow Nigerians, just know that tomorrow, those other people that you are following their religion, they will come and kill you too, because you're not Arab. Just know it's going to reach your turn too. Every day is turn by turn. When you're busy killing your own people because of foreigners, just know that those foreigners too, especially when they don't like you, you need to think twice. Think twice when you start attacking your own people. Why can't we just figure out a way to work with each other instead of always fighting ourselves because of a foreign person's religion? You know, you can practice all the religion you want, but don't use that to start attacking your people because they are not the same religion. You know, there's a reason why they say blood is thicker than water. So make we learn our lesson on that one. So I think I'll go to another set of bad actors. In Africa, these are very, very bad actors. And another one that I will choose as bad actors is, I think many of us, now we are coming to this in the African continent. You know, I think I would say one of the worst characters in Nigeria in the last year, if you ask me, let me think about it a little bit before. Okay, I would say someone like Simon Ekpa, not good character. He didn't help Nigeria in any way. He created a lot of unnecessary divisions. And if you look at Nigeria now, because of what people like Ekpa are doing, they are damaging the prospects of the Southeast and the South-South to develop. If you look at most of the developments in Nigeria now, why would anybody want to develop in those areas? Because of these people. Personally, I take that personally because I grew up in the South-South of Nigeria. They create chaos in the name of what? Breaking up the country and ending up like Syria or South Sudan, and what? Where are you going? They cause trouble. And if you look at most of the investment coming to Nigeria right now, they are hardly coming to the Southeast or the South-South areas. I think maybe a few is coming to the South-South area because of the oil stuff. But most is going to the Southwest, North Central, and maybe even northern part of Nigeria because of even when they have all this terrorism there. So people like Ekpa, they've not done the Southeast any good at all. He's done so much damage. I don't know why these people do these things. I really don't know why they do these things. When you should be working hard, you know, all your efforts should be helping your people develop, build hospitals, build roads. If the government refuses to build roads, you quarrel with them, make trouble from overseas. If the government refuses to give you hospital, you make a lot of trouble for them. They refuse to make your area, make trouble. But when you start making war in your own land, that is one of the worst tactics ever. Haven't you heard about when Americans tell you that we are fighting them over there so that we don't have to fight them at home? Why would Simon Ekpa bring fight to his own land? Bringing fight to your neighborhood so that your people don't progress? I don't support that too. I just think that our people should be a little bit smarter with the way they do their own things. Because in the end, if you are not progressing, you are going backward. And don't blame God. Don't blame other people for marginalization if you don't see development in your areas. And I can tell you right now, if you look at Nigeria right now, the face of Nigeria is fast becoming, especially in the West anyway, is fast becoming the Southwest of Nigeria. It's almost as if the other regions of the South don't exist in Nigeria. Why do you think that is? Because that other region, they are always causing trouble. They are always causing trouble. You can't be causing trouble and expect that you are going to progress. So I don't like what Simon Ekpa represents, and then I didn't like what Nnamdi Kanu represents too, because he was just also doing similar stuff that was causing upheaval in his area. You know, if you are so interested in power, if you have so much support, use those your men that are supporting you, use those women that are supporting you, form a formidable political machine in Nigeria and defeat all the people that are in the way of the Southeast. You will defeat them if you are so strong. But if you are not strong and you go to a foreign man's land and start causing trouble for your people, yes, you are not a good actor, because in the end, your people are not profiting from it. If the Southeasterners were profiting from what Simon Ekpa is doing, I wouldn't be naming him this way. They are not profiting. You know what he's going to say if you ask him? He's going to say, "Oh, we have to suffer before we enjoy." This one is what this one is what you call compulsory suffering. Have you seen compulsory suffering before? This is not compulsory suffering, no. When you have the option to do politics, you're doing this one. Look at what P2B accomplished in 5 months. Look at what P2B accomplished in 5 months. That was not compulsory suffering. That was choice to destabilize your own areas for whatever purpose. I don't have any evidence that he's working with foreigners to destabilize Nigeria, but that is the result of what he's doing. He's just destabilizing his country and weakening his country's prospects. That's all it is. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Mazi Prince. You know, I'm going to ramble now. You are getting upset now. I don't worry. When I will call California soon, I will find something in California that you don't like. So, but I don't like what he did. He's damaging the prospects of the Southeast and the South South, and it affects the South South. So no matter what we like to, we would like to say we don't have connections. Whatever affects the Southeast tends to affect the South South. Whatever affects the South South tends to affect the Southeast. Who knows? Maybe even the Southeast even affecting Benue too, because when you are linked like that, and the corridor is to the sea, and you have people in that area having problems, it's going to affect you. You can't escape these things. And why are we surprised that the Southwest is developing the most? Because they don't have all that trouble going on there. You could say it's because they have the luck of having Lagos there, but I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that's necessarily the case. You know, the Southwest, they have Christians and Muslims among them, but they are not quarreling as much as the South and the Southeast are quarreling with the state. You know, the South they started with the Niger Delta youth struggle, and then suddenly the Southeast started their own. It's like turn by turn. We're just preventing that area from developing as fast as it can. We get a lot of what they call it, those these allocations from the federal government. We get a lot of money, but do we see the dividends on the ground? I don't know, man. I don't like when all these people are preventing it, because those areas were quite developed. When I went to Port Harcourt, when I went to Nigeria, I wasn't so happy with the development I saw there. I expected more. Port Harcourt was one of the most developed areas in Nigeria when I left. Was one of the most developed areas, without a doubt. Some people even rate Port Harcourt better than. It's like Port Harcourt is like Abuja today versus Lagos. So people don't necessarily say Lagos is the best or Abuja is the best. It depends on which one you choose. That's how it was before with Port Harcourt and Lagos. Depends on which one you choose. Some people prefer Port Harcourt, some people prefer Lagos. Today, Lagos has leaped ahead. It's a fact. There are consequences. Consequences. In other words, sins of thy fathers. You can't escape it. You do things, you will see the consequences. And I hope my brothers in the Southeast, Southwest are learning the same lesson. They should not descend into anarchy themselves. Anarchy doesn't lead to development. It doesn't mean you don't fight for your rights. It doesn't mean you peace at all costs, especially when it comes to the people that are, sucking the Nigerian wealth away. All those people that are harvesting all our wealth, all our hard work, we have to stop that. Because those ones are going to kill us too if we leave it carrying on. So that is that. Simon Ekpa, not one of the good guys. Any of the people that are causing trouble in the Southeast, the South, they are not good. And let me go to the North. There's nobody that stands out in the North because Shekau is dead. But I would name the other bad guys in the north to be the bandits and the terrorists that are in the north. I don't know whether they have a name, whether you can call them a specific name. It's funny, now they don't have like Boko Haram proper anymore. Boko Haram is not even causing most of the trouble in the north. It's the other groups that barely has a name. I don't even know what they are called anymore. Northern, all those bandits, I will just group them under bandits. It's a shame. Nigerian bandits. Let me find the way where I can find them. Nigerian bandits. Let me see. Nigerian bandits. Yeah, they deserve to be called out because these people cause so much trouble in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, they cause far more trouble than Simon Ekpa has ever caused. If you ask me. Let me see. Nigerian bandits. They are some of the worst actors in the last year. A lot of kidnapping happened in Nigeria because of these people. And a lot of homes were destroyed. A lot of lives were lost. And I think recently they released the sum in trillions of naira that Nigerians spent on kidnappers alone. So these people, they have destabilized the country. And I hope the federal government really goes after any of these actors ruthlessly. We have to stamp out any of this nonsense going on in Africa. We have to stamp them out in Nigeria and anywhere else they appear. So the bandits in the north, they too are a massive problem. They too are bad actors. In terms of that's Nigeria bad actors anyway. The number one citizen of Nigeria, I consider in my own vote. I would like to hear from the viewers what they think about this. I should have said it a long time ago because he deserves a mention a lot earlier because he's a honorable person that has done quite a lot for the country. From my point of view anyway, I feel like he has done quite a lot for the country itself. It is no other than our this Dangote guy. He definitely is by far shoulder and head, what do they call it? He's towering above any single individual in Nigeria. This single man made a difference. I don't know how he did it. I'm just describing what he did. I don't care how it was done yet until something else comes out and says, oh, he sold a lot of innocent lives. Then we'll judge him based on that. But from what I can see so far, Dangote accomplished something in Nigeria he couldn't accomplish for about 25 years. Because of the act of one man, our reliance on foreign petroleum and our demand for foreign reserve may come down by about 40%. Do you know how impactful that one person is? Like the demand for foreign reserve of a whole nation of about 220 million. One man brings it down by about 30 to 40%. That is significant. In any year in the last 30 years, he will still be the man of the year. I don't know any one man that has accomplished any more. Not one man. As a matter of fact, his investment in Nigeria is one of the largest in Nigeria directly. So they play you here. Dango. Why are people just, you see, Nigerians, we need to stop this. We need to stop this. Nigeria doesn't have heroes. And Dangote comes close to a hero in Nigeria. You have to. You see, like now, I have my issues with Dangote. Like his closeness to Microsoft. And I think I'm not sure, I think he supports this GMO crop introduction in Nigeria that he doesn't control the technology of. So that I'm against. But that is different from building a refinery. If the refinery that he built was poisoning Nigerians, I would have been against him. If the refinery that he built, he's stealing and all the wealth is harvesting it and taking it overseas and is employing only foreigners, and in short, everything that he's doing with the refinery is benefiting foreigners, I will be against him. But everything that refinery represents, from diplomatic power, strategic influence, and foreign the effect it has on our foreign exchange, I think Dangote is a hero and we should recognize him as such. We hardly have any heroes in Nigeria that has totally transformed our prospects. The last year is the best year in Nigeria for the last, I don't even know how many years, maybe in the last 40, 50 years. We may not understand it. Last year was the best year in Nigeria for the last 30, 40, 50 years because of what it represented. That was the first time any strategic stuff changed. Something strategic turned around in Nigeria, where we can actually start supplying ourselves our own crude. I know that our refineries were on and off, working on and off for the last, 10, 15 or so years when they were coming on. But the capacity they had was not anything close to what Dangote is doing right now. Dangote can supply twice the need of Nigeria. That is how powerful what he has done is. So he has reserve. And what that means also that he can also go and earn income from value-added manufacturing that he will do with the refinery. Remember, he's not only saving Nigeria money in foreign exchange, he's also earning money. The question is where he's putting the money. I don't know whether he's putting it in Nigeria, but if he's putting it in Nigeria, he's also increasing supply while reducing demand. That is twice over increment that he has done. Can you imagine one person doing that? So I don't like him. I like him. It doesn't matter. But what he represents makes him the man of the year, just like what Trump represents. Trump is a convict. He says all kinds of vile things, even including about black people. But yet, what he represents made him the man of the year. The same way what Dangote represents makes him the man of the year. And Nigerians have different mixed feelings about him. You can have mixed feelings about the individual and his practices. Who cares? But that crude oil that he's supplying, that petrol price that you're having in your car, in the petrol station, he's helping it come down. How many people can say that in Nigeria? How many people can say they are helping bring the petrol price for all Nigerians down? You have to respect that. So he is the top Nigerian and he's the top African by a long shot. He is the top African by a long shot. So if I want to weigh in on who else is second in line to Dangote, let me see. For this year, last year I think one would have mentioned P2B, but this year you can see P2B was not very active this year, maybe for his own reasons, but he wasn't damaged nonetheless. Some people would like to think that P2B is done, but it's not. So let's see. Who is the second most, honorable Nigerian? There has to be one. Does anyone have any suggestion in the chat? There has to be one that I'm missing. Dele Faro to me is good, but I don't know whether he rises up to the level of affecting the direction of Nigeria in such a, strategic manner. He comes close. He's one of them. He's a hero in Nigeria. We don't have many heroes. He's one of them. That's for sure. Who else is there? I'm trying to see whether there's one, Nigerian that stands out as, that have made significant change in the direction Nigeria is traveling. I can't say that right now. I don't know why some people even choose the president for being the man of the year, because clearly I don't see what made him man of the year. Maybe if he had passed the tax reform bill, you can argue that a little bit, because if you put the tax reform bill plus local government autonomy that he gave, you can, give that to him, but not, he did the damage to the economy, so I can give him that. Okay, who is Ugo Chinyere? I don't know what did she do. Ugo Chinyere. Yeah, we need good people that have done great things for the country. Chinyere. I don't know her. Oh, is that him? I don't know what he has done. What has he done? Um, he's now you're just having a laugh. Now you're just having a laugh. You're just having a laugh. Simpubara, yeah, right. How does that work? The Simpubara literally destroyed the House of Assembly. It's one of the worst, actually. In terms of democracy, it's one of the worst. I don't know what I would call him. A kind of, he's one of them. Now let's face it. Simpubara was ushered into office, and then he get into office and burned the House of Assembly down and started having quarrel with his godfather. Whether they are quarreling or not, what does it matter? In the end, they are causing chaos in the state. So Ugo Chiere, I don't know. He's a young guy. I don't know what he has done. I think I've seen him. Have I not seen him on Dr. Damages? I think I've seen him on Dr. Damages before. Something I don't know what he has done. I'm sorry. If I knew what he has done, maybe I will be able to elevate him to my man. Anyway, it's just my opinion. Remember, this is not universal. This is just my own rating of individuals for good reasons. I try to back up my reason for why I did that. I don't know who else I'm going to name. It's a shame, though. Only the towering figure in Nigeria was Dangote by a long shot. Then the second I will give it to, because of what happened recently, is Dele Farotimi, because he rallied Nigerians and he tried to question the status quo, and the status quo didn't respond very well. So you have to give him that. There's a lot of other people that have contributed to the Nigerian space positively. You can say Showore has contributed positively. Who else? Aisha Yusuf. Very Dark Man. Very Dark Man has not done too badly. He hasn't had a very bad year. The last, what did he pull off? He said it was a stunt. So it's funny because of that stunt that he pulled. A lot of people were thinking that he just stole the money and all the rest. When I analyzed it, I thought, based on his record, I wasn't sure he stole the money. Even if he appeared to be that he stole the money, sometimes it's also good to take somebody's record into account. So he is quite somebody, and he didn't steal that money. And clearly he left. The reason why I actually believe that it was a prank, that as he claimed, because he left clues that should have triggered people to know that was a prank, like talking about going to Jos instead of Abuja or something like that. So we were supposed to have known that it was a prank. I don't think he would have wanted to steal that money. I think he had access to such money. Why would he want to steal it? We should have known that. And this is why sometimes it's good to judge people by their, as they say, antecedent in Nigeria. They like that term a lot, antecedent. So because his pattern of behavior doesn't show that he's going to be stealing that kind of money. It doesn't show that. That's why I felt no, I can't pass judgment on this guy based on that. So he's one of the best actually of the year. He really, really stood out, calling even Falana. Jesus Christ, that guy went after people. He you know what? If you want to rate him, I think I will rate him almost as high as Dele Farotimi, because he did things that from the very beginning of the year to almost to the very end, he was active in different areas doing things. So I will rate him as high as Dele Farotimi in terms of the influence he had in Nigeria, and by and large, positive influence. You have to give that to him. By and large, he had positive influence on the events in Nigeria. So then, Very Dark Man comes close to holding the second position with Dele Farotimi. But Dangote still, surpasses them by quite a long gap. What that man did took years of planning and execution to do, and no human being would do such a project and think it's easy. It's not easy to pull off. And Dangote survived the upheaval in the economic wahala that went on in Nigeria, even if his company lost money. So, but that is neither here or there. I think it's just that the refinery that he built is going to do Nigeria a lot of good. And it's already doing that. A lot of African countries are ordering their supplies now from Nigeria. So that is a lot of influence Nigeria is pulling. And, you know, he might actually even offer this president a lot of room to, you know, win support back. President Tinubu he could easily, you know, President Tinubu could easily have been the man of the year if he hadn't floated the Nigerian currency. He could easily have been the man of the year, because the reason why he was defending the naira is going away by itself because of what Dangote is doing and Nigerian refinery is coming on stream. So why did he float the naira? What was the hurry? If he hadn't floated the naira, right now, I think it would have been universal. And I don't think it would only be amongst his supporters. So a lot of people that used to doubt him would have said, no. We see this guy has done the right things. And Nigeria is in a totally different place right now. And you can already start seeing the benefits of what Dangote refinery and the Port Harcourt refinery and the Warri refineries are doing. You can already start seeing the effects a little bit. There is this change in the air in Nigeria right now that is Nigeria is beginning to kind of gain its confidence back. Because if Nigeria can support its own citizen investing $20 billion in one project, that is a landmark event that will enable the country to gain another confidence. Some other person will want to invest $10 billion, $5 billion. That's a lot of money. Because now they know this environment can generate such prospects for somebody to invest and actually have the investment come to life. And that is what Dangote has shown the way of. So we'll see what happens in the coming years. And I think 2025 is going to be interesting in Nigeria. So I think if I want to, let me just name one other person for the last year. Kemi Badenoch was a terrible person for the year of 2024. He really badmouthed Nigeria. One other person I would name is Tayo Enos. I don't know what the other name is. YouTuber that abandoned Nigeria and went to Portugal. And while doing that, he was busy pissing and shitting on Nigeria while he was going, which he didn't have to do. I don't know why our Nigerians do that. He actually came to the UK, and the poster in that his UK video was that UK was Nigeria is hell. You know, I don't know why people do this. Yeah, Nigeria is hell, but do you see what this is happening in America the other day? America, if you start police killing in America, you don't hear the end of it. You know, let me show you what Tayo is doing with Nigeria. You know, this is somebody that has 1 million subscribers. Many of his subscribers were Nigerians. You know, he had many of his subscribers were Nigerians. As a matter of fact, Davido was one of the people to promote his channel so that he got a lot of subscribers. But look at what he did. He made a video about leaving Nigeria and trashing the country while he was going. And look at this other video that he made when he came to this thing. Nigeria is hell. You know, for the life of me, there was a time you could do this and people will be more forgiving of you. But something happened last year. Something happened last year that made Nigerians say, enough. You can't keep trashing the country continuously like this. There are other people inside that country that you are trashing. While you are trashing that country like that, you are making sure that the people that wanted to invest in the country don't do that. Denying those people progress. The same thing Kemi Badenoch was doing too, claiming that she cares about Yoruba people while badmouthing the country where more than 40 million Yoruba people live. Who does that? It's like firing a torpedo at a ship where your family members are also inside there. That is the thing that our own people do. And this Tayo is a Yoruba man. No? He goes about badmouthing Nigeria. He forget that there are so many Yoruba people inside this thing. He likes his family. Oh. He probably loves his family too. But he's badmouthing the country where those families live. We have to think a little bit more. A little bit more. Just think a little bit when we are saying things. Are we helping or we are damaging? Maybe when you want to criticize a nation, you criticize it in such a way that you are suggesting things to improve it. Because when people hear it, they will not hear it like you're just heaping curse on the nation because you feel so pained. They will hear it that, okay, you're making constructive criticism of what you would like to see changed and stuff like that. So that is my take on his approach, and this is why even a Cameroonian a Cameroonian was crossed with Nigerians because of it. He was I played the video earlier on. I don't know if I can find the video again to play. This Cameroonian was crossed with Nigerians. Like, what is wrong with Nigerians? Why do we behave like this? Let me play the video again there quickly so we can hear it again.
Tolerate and accept this kind of people. See, Nigeria is the you want to leave behind for your country. That is the reputation you want to give your country after the country has made you who you are. I don't understand why you Nigerians continue to tolerate and accept this kind of people. See, Nigeria is the only country where people, they abuse freedom of speech. The Nigerians abuse freedom of speech so much. This is the height of it. You cannot tell me that your family will feed you, take care of you, raise you to the point where you are now okay, you cannot stand on your ground. You will not turn back and tell the whole world with your millions of subscribers. You are not telling them to avoid Nigeria. You are not telling them you cannot stay in Nigeria and be happy. You are not telling the whole world you cannot stay in Nigeria and be peaceful after Nigeria has raised you. It's not fair now. Let's be honest. If you think that what Ajim is saying doesn't make sense, Kunkuma say it.
That is a Cameroonian being furious with Nigerians. A Cameroonian is furious with Nigerians because we badmouth our country so much. That is what makes him so furious about our behavior. And it's something that I don't know. Normally, we normally accept these criticisms, but something happened this year where we started pushing back. And I don't fully understand the reason. Maybe because of Nigeria is beginning to gain its confidence back, but maybe in time we'll fully understand why. So now let me start picking the losers. You know, I'm not going to necessarily call them bad people necessarily, but they are losers. It's just objectively that they are losers in 2024, and whether they are going to gain ground in 2025. One of the losers of 2024 is France in Africa. France suffered a lot of reverses in Africa. I don't know where I'll find that. Yeah, France has been kicked out of Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Chad, Senegal. That is how many countries I've just named? Is it not about 5? Senegal, and I think Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast is a very Ivory Coast. I think Ivory Coast should trouble France quite a lot, because Ivory Coast is one of those countries that is like ride or die with the French. Ivory Coast is asking them to leave too, and obviously Tinubu decides that that's the time to go and toast France. So our president seems to love the French right now, and I think maybe something that there's a kind of geopolitical realignment that is going on. Not that the president is sharing it with us, and partly that could also mean that he will be criticized for it, because maybe President Tinubu is going about this thing now saying, because I think he made one statement once. You know, I try to listen to when he talks so that you hear the nuances from what he's saying. He said that whether nobody can do anything in Africa without Nigeria. So that statement he put in his, I think I'm not sure I put in it perfectly, but he's emphasizing that Nigeria is very important to anybody that wants to do anything in Nigeria, in Africa. So maybe what the president is now doing, I know I'm saying a lot of maybes, is having this discussion with the French to say, you know what, leave all the other countries alone to me. Nigeria will take care of business. Leave them to me. I will corral all the Africans, make sure that they're all behaving. But you have to listen to us, Nigerians, now. You have to listen to us. You may have to listen to Kenya, and you may have to listen to South Africa. South Africa is not in any mood to listen to any of these Western nations, actually. But it looks like maybe that's the game President Tinubu is playing. Now, The big question, the most critical question in that kind of scenario is, what is he asking for it? What is he demanding that the French do so that Nigeria will work with the other countries to behave? That is going to be critical. And my worry is that he will lack ambition in what his demand will be. History has suggested that African leaders lack ambition, foresight, and vision for the future. That is my biggest fear. And if any of his supporters are listening to this, whatever he's going to be asking for, he should be asking for like the sky. He shouldn't be asking for any and anything. If they refuse, then so be it. Let them go. Because if you don't ask for anything that is going to enable us to sustain our development, then what is the point of asking at all? Because they are just going to come and wreck us again later, like they wrecked us in the 80s and 90s. They will wreck it again and take everything that we've gained away. So there is no point then. Don't bother with that. So thank you for joining me, Jide. You know, you are one of our leading geopolitical analysts here. You are interested in geopolitical affairs. As you can see, I've read through quite a lot, and in terms of what our outlook is going to be for, I just talked about what the president may want to do with the French in order to get us to where we want to be. And one other thing we have to be looking out for in the coming years, we're going to be seeing more of this type of videos. Let me play it before, you know, black people are going to get kicked in the teeth, and we should get used to it, because Trump is in office and all the rednecks are very, very proud right now. And I think it's a good thing. You know, all these black people that think that they are white people, they are like, oh, we are just human beings. It doesn't matter. We are just human beings. Now, let me just play this first.
Disturbing body cam footage released on Friday shows correctional officers fatally beating inmate Robert Brooks at Marcy Correctional Facility in New York. Brooks died the next day on December 10th. In the footage, the officers shove something in Brooks' mouth, punch, and kick him. This is an excerpt from footage showing multiple beatings inflicted on Brooks that resulted in his death. He was handcuffed with his hands behind his back during the incident. New York Governor Kathy Hochul released a statement saying that she was, quote, outraged and horrified after seeing footage of the senseless killing of Robert Brooks, and ordered a full investigation into his death, as well as the termination of 14 individuals involved.
Just hours after the deadly...
Yeah, the reason why I share all this, so that our people are aware of what is coming up in the next coming years, the coming months. I mean, you will be seeing more and more of this, and not much is going to be done about it, and we have to make our peace with it. What it's going to do is going to conscientize a lot of our people. It's going to wake our people up to the fact that, you know what, not much has changed. Not much has changed. These people, this is why I keep saying all the progress we've made so far can easily be reversed. We think it's going to last. It's not going to last. You have to be. This is why I say if Tinubu is going to negotiate with people, he has to go with number one. He has to demand technological sovereignty for Nigeria. He has to demand some of the best technology that they have. If you don't demand it, nobody's going to give you. And if they don't not going to give you, then let them go. What are you doing with them? If when you manufacture your products, you sell it to them, then when if they like, they buy. If they don't like, they don't buy. China will buy. Iran will buy. Other countries will buy. If they want to sanction you, let them sanction you. Who cares about all this? Because all these so-called, oh, you are our friends. You were once colonizing us. We have connection. We have family links. We have Commonwealth. We have Francafrique. What is it doing for you? All it has given us is poverty. And if you carry on like this, it's going to give us our annihilation. When I'm saying these things, I'm not saying it because it's in theory. It's going to be real. You can't expect to live your life like this and remain this weak, you are going to invite annihilation. It's not even going to be their fault. We will be the one that would have invited it. You can't be weak and expect to survive in the world. That's how it works. It's just the nature of things. So that is why I'm thinking this president, if he wants to do the right thing by the people, he has to demand quite a lot of things. I hear that Kenya is looking to host French African Summit. Welcome, greetings. He's greeting Mazi Prince McKennelly. Thank you for joining us. So I hear what's his name? Ruto of Kenya is looking to host French African Summit, and God, I will be watching that closely to see what they ask for. Because many of these African leaders, they are just, you know what I fear they're going to be asking for? Debt relief. Debt relief is all they're going to be asking for. Debt relief that they're going to go and take another debt again, and they're back again to asking for debt relief again. These Mumu people, I won't even ask for one debt relief. I'll be asking for the best things that they've got. Come to Nigeria and start building your aircraft engines. Come to Nigeria and start building your ships. Yeah, so that we'll see how you make your ships, and then we know how you build it. Something that our forefathers never bothered to do. We will know exactly how you do all those things. Those are the kind of things you want to be asking for. Okay, so Nigerian first, you have to put your camera on. I'm sorry, this stream is still going around. When we go straight to Nigeria, like after 3 hours, we go to Nigeria only. That's when we can now do camera off. But since it's still on Iroko Post, we have to do our cameras on as per policy. So I know that you wanted to join the conversation. Obviously, I may ask for permission later on to see whether they will start allowing non-camera panelists to join. So, but that is that anyway. So I will allow Jide to weigh in on some of my choices and what he thinks. And if you can even, Jide, if you want to highlight other areas that I've not touched on, because it's quite broad, isn't it? It's quite a lot of other areas. But just before you go, my prediction for this year, I will make a prediction. This is evidence-based prediction in terms of, let me show my face so that in the future, if I made a lot of mistakes, I can't hide. There will be evidence that I am completely boo-booing it. So my prediction this year is that the Ukraine war is going to come to a halt. It may not come to a halt in the sense that they signed a peace deal. It might just end up like the way South Korea and North Korea ended up, a kind of uneasy truce. But one way or the other, it's going to end. The Gazan one, the Palestinian one, wow, that one is tricky though. I believe that one will end. It probably will end. The Gaza will probably end sometime in ending of January, maybe even before that then, or maybe even February. I think the Palestinians will survive in that space. Israel will not be able to take Gaza completely. They might take some territories from northern Gaza. China will only get stronger. They are going to get stronger economically, and they're going to get stronger strategically in terms of pulling away from the West. Whatever America does, China has already anticipated it. So not in that trajectory, not much is going to change. Which other area may be affected? I think Africa and the Middle East will see the biggest change in the world. That's what I think is likely to happen. Africa and the Middle East will see the biggest change. In the case of Africa, it could go either way. That, like I said, the president, if he does a good job of his negotiation, as a matter of fact, it doesn't even matter that much, really. I think the events on the ground is already shaping up. I think most Africans are going to see this year, especially Nigerians, as a positive year. If they are objective, they're going to see it as a positive year. However, in the bigger scheme of things, I am not so sure it's going to be a strategically positive year. There's a difference there. strategically positive year will mean that the chances of Africans to be able to sustain their growth get stronger. That, in other words, it will be harder to take it away from them. I'm not so sure anything like that is going to happen this year.
Yo, what do you think about?
No, sorry,
I'm
just making a prediction. I need to make a smooth prediction so that when they cut the video out and show it to the world in a year's time, and I'll have a red face, or everybody will think I'm a prophet.
Talk about Google's quantum computer. Google's quantum computer.
Hold on now. Stop interrupting my flow. If they think I'm a prophet, so that I will get the credibility. A lot of people will be subscribing. But if I boo-boo it, everybody will run away. So on that front, the Ukraine war is going to end. It might just end with an uneasy truce. The Gazan one, it will come to an end. And everything Israel wants, it's not going to get. It's going to get some, but not everything Israel wants it to get. My prediction is that one way or the other, Israel will be further and further on the back foot on what they are doing to the Palestinians. Whether they annex West Bank or not, they are going to be further and further on the back foot, because the whole world is now gained a consciousness that is at the level of the way they had it against apartheid. And they are going to be targeting Israel everywhere they turn now. And so that is one that is going to grow. I'm not going to dare to predict that there's going to be a actual peace deal that's going to be happening between the Israelis and the Palestinians. I'm not going to even get there to go and do that. But I know Israel will be further and further in the back foot on that. What will happen to Netanyahu? I find it hard to predict Netanyahu, but I think, one, his party is going to lose power. He's going to be out of office the moment the war ends. That's what I think. Most people suspect that, to be fair. The moment the war ends, he's going to lose power. His party is going to be out of office, and he possibly will be convicted, but not necessarily go to jail. That is what I predict. Because of some of the things he's done for Israel, even if he's convicted, he probably won't go to jail. What else is on the horizon? Tension between the US and the China will increase, even if the tension between the US and Russia decreases. Tension between the US and China will increase. In the case of Africa specifically, Nigeria will do better this year. Nigeria will do better this year. The only thing that would derail it is if our president decides that it's a good idea for the French to come into our territory to go and attack Niger. All hell will break loose. I don't see that happening, so Nigeria will do better this year. And Tinubu's popularity will grow. Like it or not, it will grow this year because of what is happening in Nigeria. The Naira will gain value this year too. By this time next December, the Naira will be somewhere, I think it's going to be solid at 1,500 at most, at the least. It could be up to like 1,400 even. It could be as good as that. I wouldn't say as good as that. The good one should be around 500 Naira, but 1,400 this Naira per Naira. That's my prediction. The direction the Naira is going to be going. Because of that, Tinubu is going to gain in popularity. And what else is am I to predict in terms of Africa and West Africa? West African nations are likely to form a stronger bond. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because of what is happening now already. There's sense that they are trying to remove the French yoke on them. In other words, if they are able to throw that one off, there's nothing stopping them from forming stronger bond within ECOWAS. So, and I think that is what they are making space for now. Maybe with the agreement of the French agreeing to it. So West Africa will form a stronger bond. There is even a chance, not 100% chance, that the Sahel nations will return because of that. there is even a chance that the Sahel nations will return because of that. The reason why I said this is because I already said earlier when these people took over and Tinubu was threatening them for war, this is the kind of arrangement I was saying Tinubu should have been negotiating for. That may change their mind. Because if they feel that the colonial powers are not controlling West Africa anymore, and West Africa is actually standing on its own strategically, they may not see any reason why to isolate themselves anymore. Because one of the reasons why they are doing that, because they feel like West Africa is just beholden to the West. West Africa is not forming military alliances as they are supposed to. They go about behaving like ECOMOG and that nonsense. So all those things could lead them, because even Cote d'Ivoire is kicking the French people out. That is crazy. It's unheard of. Oh, okay, you correct me, eh? Don't worry, you correct me. So Cote d'Ivoire is kicking the French people out. So if that happens, then it means ECOWAS has a chance to become more solid, and they may even resurrect the idea of the eco currency again. So there's quite a lot of things I believe is going to happen this year, and I'm sure I've got a few of them wrong. By the end of the year, Trump will not be as popular as he is now. That's for sure. He's not going to be as popular as he is now. And Elon Musk popularity and connection to Trump would have either been severed or greatly diminished. The bond is not going to be as strong in a year's time. Soon you are going to find out why CEOs don't get into politics. soon you're going to find, soon we'll find out why CEOs don't get into politics. You see that his truck was already used for suicide, for attacking this thing. You're going to soon find out why CEOs don't get into politics. So that's my prediction anyway for the year. And thank you for being patient with me. I just wanted to get this one out so that we can be able to cut it out and, show whether I'm a total douchebag or whether I got it right at all. So welcome, Ejide. I appreciate your patience. So what do you think about the year so far? What do you think about my choices, and what are your choices?
You said a lot of things. I mean, you said a lot of things. You gave you gave some interesting points. Yeah, let me say hi to everyone on the comment section. I greet everyone. Happy New Year again. Eccentric Cast. Good to see you again, man. Fathers, I appreciate everything you're doing, man. You're doing a great job, man. Good to see you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you said a lot of things. Like, yeah. I also want to greet the people listening as well. So yeah, you analyzed a lot of things. There were some things that you said that were very interesting. Some things that you said, I think you took a lot of things out of context. I won't say you are wrong. Some of the analysis you give, I'll say you took a lot of things out of context, and as a result of that, some of the things you said were slightly misleading. But a lot of things you said were good. I kind of agree with a lot of things you said, but there's some things that you said that were very misleading, particularly about the geopolitics with the US and the West, and some of the things you said about Nigeria's relation with our neighbors and West Africa. Like, we made a lot of interesting points, but some of them are kind of taken out of context. So we're talking about Donald Trump, that is man of the year, right? So like, there's something that I was always going to like talk about that, but I've not had the opportunity to talk about it on the show, right? Like, that a lot of us tend to not get. You see, in the Western politics, this is what they call controlled opposition. So when you have a leader in power, right, and the states, the governments, the political parties are not implementing the policies that will benefit the people, they continue to implement the foreign policies that that would continue to funnel wars overseas, right? So there is this people they call the controlled opposition. They are there to be like, oh, they are for the people, they love the people, they want change. They make valid criticism of those that are in power, right? They make valid criticism, but actually their views, what they are coming to implement is almost going to be the same as those that are in power. In fact, a lot of this controlled opposition, they are right-wing political parties. This opposition, they are part of the establishment. So America is one of the prime example of that, right? America is an empire, right? You have the Democrats. We talk about Joe Biden. So I'm not very interested about Joe Biden. I really agree with a lot of things said about Joe Biden, the Democrats, a lot of the things they are doing, a lot of their failed policies, right? You mentioned it. However, the opposition party, actually, they're also part of the establishment, but they are controlled opposition. They are not the real opposition that is kind of like the anti-establishment that want to come and implement policies that really benefit the people, that will stop the wars overseas, that will revolutionize the foreign policy, you understand, of the West, that will, you know all the things that we want. I don't want to go into all the lists, right? It goes on and on. So this controlled opposition, actually, what you have is that they play the game differently. They play the game completely differently, but they are also part of the establishment. So the idea that Donald Trump is a hero, I think it is very misleading to a lot of people, particularly we Black people. White people can be illusional about it. White people is their own, they can be illusional about it, right? They have their politics, they have their interest. You understand? They can be illusional about Donald Trump. But we Black people, we need to understand who our oppressors are very well, because my major position on this is we really need to study our oppressors. We really need to study their politics, their game, the game they play. Donald Trump is not an hero, particularly for, I mean, it's not an hero for us, obviously, but it's not it's not the kind of figure of anti-establishment that we think, you know, he is. Even though I condemn everything that has been done to him, I condemn it. You know, the association attempt on his life, I condemn it sincerely. Everything that, you know, on his life, how they attacked him and everything, I condemn it. But the real fact is, that's what they do. They play psyop operations on controlled opposition to make it seem like that's the enemy of the states, that's the threat of the states. But actually, you will see that even before he got into office, he's going to be coming into office in less than 2 weeks or so. They've already removed all the allegations against him, the court appeal and everything. It has been withdrawn. It's not a coincidence. It's not like he did anything magical. You understand? Everything was a psychological operation so as to ensure that the population think that the person that is actually part of the establishment is their hero. It's not just even those politicians. You also have the media platforms too, like people like Tucker Carlson, people like Candace Owens, all these people. They're actually part of they may have some things they say, they may criticize, which is legitimate, you know. They may have some interesting views, but if you understand their political ideology, what they stand for, you will realize, and how they are connected to some of these powerful people, they are part of the establishment. Donald Trump did not start new wars when he was in power from 2016 to 2020. However, a lot of the things that happened under Joe Biden, he had already planted the seed. That's what a lot of people do not know. Everything that happened under Joe Biden, the Gaza war, the war in Ukraine, he already planted the seed. In fact, when he was in power, he was the first president to supply weapons to Ukraine. After the Maidan revolution and everything, he was the first. People don't know this. People don't know this. But he was actually the first person to supply weapons to the neo-Nazi regime that fought Russia, right? The Russian elements.
You mean Trump was the one that first supplied them?
Yes. People don't know this. Forget his rhetoric.
I don't know that.
The game. When he's coming and say, oh, you know, if he was in power, the war would have happened. These are, I mean, I know Donald Trump very well. I've read his books. He's a person that is a Machiavellian. He can come and give you lies, what he wants to hear, but he has what he wants to do. He always makes sure he wins, and the winner takes it all. That's kind of person Donald Trump is. But he doesn't like to lose.
Hold on, but the reason why I think Trump has a different opinion, yeah, he's part of the establishment, but he does have a different opinion with the American approach to Russia, because in the first time, he was being pestered continuously that he was a Russian stooge. And he didn't care. He even went in front of Putin and denounced his own secret service. He didn't care. So
yes, I'll explain that part.
Go ahead. I'm just trying to highlight that it's not necessarily like he is just playing along. They have a difference of opinion with their approach to Russia. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. You're right. Yeah, that was what I said earlier. Like, they may have some valid criticism of some of the foreign policy, but if you look at their political agenda, their political ideology, the things they really support and they stand for, they are still for the establishment. So one thing you need to understand about the two political parties is that, look at them, A and B. Each of them have their own priorities. But before I go into that, let me tell you why there's this idea, why some Republican elements, Republican Party, right? A lot of their elements are very pro-Russia, or they kind of have some of them have a soft spot towards Russia. It comes from the history of the US, from the white nationalist history of the US, where the Russian Empire recognized US. I think it was one of the first countries that recognized US at that time as a country. There's that one. There is the Christianity factor, because the Republican Party, they have a very strong ideological alliance with Christianity, particularly the evangelicals, right? So there's that aspect. But Russia as a state, they have a very strong Christian history, rich Christian heritage. So that kind of aligns them together. That's the first point. The second thing also is,
Gide, there's something you need to consider as well. The elite conservative party members, the Republicans, the more elite Republicans are not pro-Russia. You know what I mean? It's just like
that was just some have a soft spot. When I mean soft spot, it doesn't mean if what's going on in Ukraine. I'm going there. I'm going there. I was going to talk about that. I'm not saying all Republicans are pro-Russia. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there are some elements that have a soft spot due to the conservative values with the Republicans. However, you have even within the Republicans, you have the neoconservatives. The neoconservatives, they align a lot, even with the Democrats, on some of the policies that are being implemented. I'll give an example, just like what Eccentrica said. When Kamala Harris was campaigning, Dick Cheney's wife, Dick Cheney, George Bush, they are Republicans. They endorse Kamala Harris. Do you think they just hate Trump? No, it's part of the game. So as to make it seem, because a lot of people are already aware of what's going on, that a lot of they're already aware that a lot of the failed foreign policy of the US. So a lot of the people that are culprits, quote unquote, the powerful culprits, they're now aligning with Kamala Harris to make it seem like Donald Trump is the innocent guy, the guy that is, like I said earlier, the anti-establishment figure, where people now dissuade themselves and think, oh, Donald Trump is actually anti-war. For George Bush and Dick Cheney and his wife, Liz Cheney, to not even support him, and they are Republicans. So it is part of the game. The Republicans and the Democrats, they still stand under the same centralized foreign policy. So we need to get out of the way that the Ukraine war, Donald Trump already planted the seed already. The weapons, the intelligence, everything they are using to fight Russia now. He provided it. It was the first president that provided it. The war in Gaza, he had already planted that seed already before the pandemic. In fact, we were even lucky that before the pandemic, the US is not going to a war with Iran. There was a time when they killed so during that time, there were increasing tensions between Iran and the US when they killed their major general. I think it's their chief of army staff or something. It's one of their major generals that fought, that helped to keep the Syrian president Bashar al-Assad in power by defeating the Islamic State, and also fighting the terrorists and a lot of terrorists, and also providing a lot of training and support to Hezbollah that is fighting Israel. So under Donald Trump, they had to assassinate him. They assassinated him at that time, and that increased tensions between Iran and the US. The nuclear deal that was implemented under Obama, which was a good deal, right, to promote peace and stability, at least on the surface. That was withdrawn by Donald Trump. And they imposed draconian sanctions on Iran. You understand? Then, to now make matters worse, he now implemented another official agreement between Gulf countries and other Arab countries with Israel, which, of course, angered a lot of those militias and resistance fighters, right? It was called the Abraham Accords. That was what he planted the seed. And also, talking about Donald Trump, even though he didn't start any war, like fiscal war, hot war, he actually imposed more sanctions on other countries than even under Obama. A
Are
lot
you
of sanctions.
serious? Do you know how many sanctions Biden administration heaped on Russia? I don't. It's more than 1,000.
Yes, yes. But even if you take away Russia, weaker countries like Cuba, Somalia, so many of all those countries, he imposed more draconian sanctions. But of course, all these countries are like, they are weaker countries and we don't know of them because we always think of war as just, war between military or proxy war and stuff. But even sanctions is an element of war. People don't realize that. He imposed a lot of sanctions on Latin American countries. The devastation of Venezuela was under Donald Trump. The sanctions, the regime change operations on Venezuela that happened when he was in power, it was under his watch. He implemented it. It was under his watch, In fact, Elon Musk, that everybody is now seen as a hero. All these guys, like I said, they are under the same establishment, but they play the game in a different way. They may play the game in a very different way.
Either way, you can't escape the idea that Trump was in office when no major war was triggered. Yes, he may have laid foundation, he may have done things that you could say that has led to the wars today, but yet he was not the one in office when the Ukraine war started, the Gaza war started, the Lebanon war, and the disintegration of Syria. It tends to always be when Democrats are in office. The last time they were in office, when Democrats were in office, that's when Syria caught that fire in the first place. And the last time when they were in office, that's when Libya disintegrated. And historically, if you look at when Democrats are in office, that's when most of the bloodiest wars start. At least that's when it starts. Not necessarily when this thing ends, but when it starts, Democrats are often the ones in charge. I don't know why that is. Maybe they are just doing kind of tag teaming, like you
But
are
the Iraq
describing
war
right
was
now.
started by the Republicans.
Pardon?
The Iraq war was started by the Republicans.
Yes, the Iraq war was started by Republicans.
And that was one of the most blatant, most.
And the Afghanistan war was started by them, and the first Iraq war was started by them too. But historically, First World War, Second World War, Vietnam War, Korean War, Libya, Gaza, Ukraine, name it, the Democrats is bleeding with. You can't count.
But
And
a
Democrat was in office. A Democrat was the one that used nuclear weapons twice, not the Republican. Democrats did that. So Democrats, we always think that they are quite peaceniks, but if you look at the party, if you want to assign a party that shed more blood in history, the Democrats may have even shed more blood than the Nazis. Those guys, they trigger some massive wars and they not let it go. It's under their watch all these wars happen. So if we've lived it now, we saw what happened with Ukraine. We saw it was unnecessary and it still happened nonetheless. You saw what the killing that's been happening in Gaza. It didn't need to happen, but it's still happening under a democratic president. This president opened my eyes to Democrats.
Yeah, so
okay.
The thing is, the both parties, these are neocon part. These guys are neocons. They're playing good cop, bad cop. I believe you. I agree with you, forefathers. Democrats, warmongering party. The genocide in Gaza, that was like that was the straw that broke the camel back.
Opened my eyes, man. That thing opened my eyes a lot too.
Wow, that was like this. That's extreme, man. Like I was alive when South African apartheid happened, right? This is worse than South African apartheid, man. You know what I mean? Like this is even worse.
It forced me to start thinking that, like during the 90s, when the US was at the zenith of its power, when Soviet Union fell down, Clinton was mostly in office during that period. That's when the Rwandan genocide happened. That's when the June 12 happened. All those, Africa suffered massive reverses during that period of Clinton being in office. It's unbelievable. I like, it should be the opposite. I thought black people vote for these guys. But they are so, man, I don't know how they pull it off. These people, they will pretend as if they're your friends, but they are the most deadly of the parties.
No, I mean when it comes to domestic policies, they are better than the Republicans to a certain point, a certain degree. If you look at Biden's domestic policies, they're pretty good. Some of them are pretty good. You know what I mean? He's
Can you
not.
give us examples of their good policies? Because I've been talking about a lot of the bad things, but what are the good
Yeah.
policies then?
Yeah. So like when it comes to like expanded Medicare, he expanded Medicare and added things like dental coverage and a lot
Well,
of
for
other
white
things.
people, it's not
Student.
for us. It's not helping us. It's for
No,
general.
no. I mean for Africa. I don't think. No. Don't. When it comes to
What do you
foreign
think of
policy, foreign policy is a different animal, man. Like
Yeah,
when it
we're
comes to
still
foreign
talking
policy,
about foreign policy. I mean, there's some good things in back home, like the loan forgiveness. He forgives some student loans for a lot of other
yeah,
things.
we talk, domestic policies, but I mean, you
Yeah,
know, to be honestly, like something about the Democratic Party, man, they appeal to the to the rich a lot. That's why, like, if you go to states on run by Democrats, they're the most expensive. Like the state that I'm in. Housing price is expensive here, and cost of living is so high, and it's the same in every state run by Democrats. I don't know what it is about Democratic Party that you know they are kind of anti. I mean, they're not anti-worker like the Republican Party are, because they are the ones that did the whole right to work policy. The Republican Party and Republican Party hates the labor. The unions. You know what I mean? But the Democrats, man, their policies always hurt the poor. I don't know what it is. I mean, those two parties, I'm not a fan of them, anyways. You already know, I'm not a fan of those two parties. But like when it comes to you know, uh, positive things that would happen in this year going forward, I think in the sciences there will be there will be more innovations and more discoveries. In terms of sciences, right? Because they're making strides. You heard about the Google quantum computing. That would be a groundbreaking stuff if it really happened. But I think it has something to do with the whole tech code war with China. You know what I mean? America wants to be the first to do something, before China comes out and go, hey, we did it first. I think that's what it is. But I don't know. I want to be optimistic that that Google actually did that. So there will be positive news in terms of tech developments. And when it comes to Africa, what's going on in the Sahel in the West Africa, it's positive. You know what I mean? I think it's a paradigm shift. That paradigm shift, it will keep happening that way. It will the seed will like it will germinate. A lot of countries will kick out the French.
But where do you think the direction? What is it leading to? Because it has to be leading to something.
Yeah, of course. I mean, what's happening is a new power is emerging, and they are taking over from France. Believe it or not, the places that kicked out France actually, have aligned with Russia, right? Russia is sending out grains, exporting grains to Africa. You know what I mean? Massively, and sometimes they are, giving out these grains for free. They're using grains, as their soft power moves. You know what I mean? This is that's what
Hold
it
on,
is.
though. Hold on. Is it wise for us to reach such conclusion that the West
You
is
know,
just losing power and Russia is
all
gaining ground? No, the
the
reason
way,
why I'm saying that is because when you look at the Middle East, the
yeah.
West don't take it easy. Oh. Whenever they want to lose, and they don't take it easier, or they cause all kinds of trouble. So this,
I mean, that's normal. That's they've always been like that. You know what I mean? They've always been like. I mean, if you look at the West, right? I mean, the so-called West is part of Asia, right? It's just a small part of Asia. You know,
mm,
it's not really a continent. It's just BS. You can argue with any any. If you talk to
so
geographers,
you want to
they'll
call
tell
the
you.
West Western Asia? Then the
It's
West
just
is
it's just part of Asia. Yeah,
Western.
just a tiny sect. I mean, of course they evolve differently. Whatever. They, like you said, they have
called
Neanderthal DNA, which
Christendom and European.
yeah,
Anyways,
so they this is like what their ancestors did. They figured out how to make boats from 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 the Mongols, and then they went around conquering everywhere.
But
But you know,
but one of the
it's
agreement I saw that the Democrats did, because when you were talking about some of the things Democrats did for black people, which I barely can see, but one of them is the AGOA trade policy. What has that truly done for Africa? Because I think it was Clinton that signed it in 2020, year 2000.
Mhm.
Look at 24 years later. Look at Africa. Don't we look even poorer, more emaciated? What,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah.
what does that
This
do
is,
for us?
well, this is the thing, right? You know, the West. If you look at the political party, right? I mean, the economic system, right? It doesn't tell you, you know, it doesn't tell you anything positive about them. You know what I mean? Like, a, a capitalist will not give you anything for free. So I'm saying, or give you something equally. They don't do equal business to be fair. That's just the nature of capitalism, right? That's why, you know what I mean. Anytime the West does something for Africa, you have to like actually look at what they're not telling you. Like when Blinken called all the leaders and then promised to give them how many $billion. That was their way of like trying to counter China, Belt and Road Initiative, which is
Mm.
very popular. You know what I mean? Most of the development in Nigeria were as a result of Belt and Road Initiative. And I believe that Tinubu was made president to sever the tie, the whole Belt and Road Initiative, to stop the whole Belt and
Mm.
even if he won't stop it completely, he will slow it down. Because under
I
Buhari,
think you
Belt
are
and
right.
Road Initiative,
You may be right there. So, but
sped up.
then, who is your man of
Invest-
the year then of last year, and what do you think is going to be coming up for this year? Before we bring Jonaba in,
Who's the man of the year for last year?
for, yeah, 2024. Then for this year, what do you think is gonna, what do you think is gonna be likely to be happening this year?
Man of the year. I mean, woman of the year.
Yeah, yeah, you
Honestly,
know, layman to be fair, the person of the year.
person of the year.
Mm.
Man. Goodness. Honestly, I have to think about it. I don't know. I do not know. I mean, this honestly, like I think this is what I think, right? Before it's
Hmm.
like what they say in the occult, right? Everything casts a shadow. Everything casts a shadow, right? We are in the shadow phase of everything, right? Things are
Mm.
not going to be good. You feel what I'm saying? But there will be the paradigm shift's going to be happening little by little. You know what I mean? Like you saw what's going on in the Sahel. You saw BRICS. These is all. This is all like the initial stage of the paradigm shift, and I believe like in the next perhaps 10 years, when all these things come together, there will be a huge paradigm shift, right? Where the global south will become kind of free from the global north. Because right now, the global south is like in almost like it's like a slave master relationship that we have, a slave, whatever, with
Papa,
with
you
the
don't ask
billion.
me about my man of the year.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, I'll
Yeah,
be coming to
go
you.
ahead, Jide. Jide, what's the man of the year? Now, go ahead, you can take that.
Yeah, don't worry, he's got one in mind.
I have a couple of people in mind that really impressed me this year as leaders to emulate.
Okay.
Vladimir Putin is a strong leader, but he's too popular. And what he has done has not just been unique to last year. So I will not mention Vladimir Putin for
Okay.
2024. I'll mention Ibrahim Traore.
Mm.
Ibrahim Traore has been a very inspirational leader for the African continent. If you talk about world leader of the year, the leader that I've admired me the most, I'll go to Latin America. Man. Latin America, there's some leaders I really admire. Lula,
Mm.
I love Lula. Lula is one
Lula.
of I love
Mm.
Lula of Brazil. This Honduras presidents, those are leaders that I wish they
Wow.
ran Nigeria.
That's what's up.
This newly elected woman, she's a very good leader. I've forgotten her name now. Something Castro. I can't remember her first name. You guys can check her out. These are very, very good leaders. For me, so my man of the year, I would say, is Lula. But for what are they calling it? Second, third, I'll talk about Honduras president, Ibrahim Traore. For me, for black people, the leader of the year for me is Ibrahim Traore. No doubt about that.
Wow. Whoa, I just heated this thing up here. So I think Traore does make sense in terms of the African leaders, because the space, you can see that he is the leader in that he is. In terms of ideological leader, he seems to be leading. And so many times they've tried to remove him. They've tried to remove him from
It's
office
not
more
a
than anybody.
coincidence, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They tried to remove him from office so many times. But in terms of the worst of the worst, then do you have any?
You mentioned some of them already. This one to mention them again.
The worst of the worst for last year.
For me, the worst of the worst would be mine would be Joe Biden and Netanyahu. Like they kind of, Netanyahu.
You have to mention one.
First, second place. Oh, mention one.
Man,
no,
you don't have to mention one. The top one. You have to choose top one, then choose the others.
The others, the others. My worst.
I'll take Joe Biden, man. So Joe Biden
is my top two.
He takes the cake, man.
Human being.
The guy is terrible, man.
Horrible. I don't know how I managed to thought. I thought he was, because he was the vice president of Obama, so I thought he was going to be okay. But
man, you got to look at his record prior to that. You have to look at his record.
People did warn also that this guy, he was the one that passed that crimes bill and all those stuff. That guy is ruthless.
Goodness.
We didn't know.
Wow.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, he was. I think he was a senator when what was the president? What's Mandela? Mandela was put on the terrorist list.
Right.
He was the one.
He was a senator.
He was a senator that time. Yeah.
Wow.
He was a senator. He pushed it, of course.
That guy is horrible when he wants to be, and
man, even in Russia, whatever. It was when he was vice president. The whatever in Ukraine started. It was him. It was not even Obama. It was under his watch. It was
him. Yeah. Because if you remember, like, the whole Gazprom, not Gazprom, what's that gas company in Ukraine? That was paying him money, getting access to the president through him when he was the vice president. That was that period. And at a certain point, I thought the war, this whole conflict, he engineered the conflict to hide, the backhand business that was going on, because his son was getting paid $50 million. I mean, $50,000 every month for being on the board of all your company.
Later, it was pardoned. It was pardoned based on, I don't know, for some weird reasons. They pardoned him just like that.
Yeah. Like, remember the chief judge or whatever in Ukraine wanted to investigate that, and Biden came out and say something about, he has so much power that he can get rid of the guy. And the guy was kicked out. Kicked out of office.
It's what they do now. And Biden was also in office when they removed the Pakistani, this popular leader, Imran Khan.
Imran Khan
they jailed him. So the guy, but and this is why sometimes when I look at Africa,
Bangladesh. Now look at what they did in Bangladesh. Look at the regime change operation that they carried out in Bangladesh.
I didn't know there was one. Was it not Sri Lanka you are referring to?
Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. Bangladesh is last year. Look how they did Bangladesh last year.
When they are in office, a lot of people fall from office. When Democrats are in office, they are more interfering in nations. They try to knock off people that are not ideologically on their side. While Trump and Republicans don't care too much. The reason why I say that is because when you look at history, the leader that went to China first to have a war with China and reach a rapprochement was Nixon, a Republican leader, not a Democrat. And Reagan was the one that signed the non-proliferation treaty with Russia or something like that anti-ballistic missile treaty. So it's like the Republicans have a knack for wanting to keep things the way they are, but the Democrat wants to expand. They tend to they are driven by ideology more, which is strange. Now Republicans, it's really strange to believe.
Trump was the one that started the whole anti-China rhetoric, but Democrat kicked it up the notch. You know what I mean?
They always they started visiting Taiwan even.
And that's even true. Talking about American presidents that didn't start a war, I think this man will be also one of my nominees for Man of the Year. But it can't be number one. Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, I know.
He died just last year. Jimmy Carter. I mean, he didn't start a new war, and he was able to manage some of the.
Yeah, he was one of the few. He was one of the few that.
Jimmy Carter,
he negotiated a peace deal with Egypt and Israel too. So he negotiated that peace deal. Man, I was so alarmed the other day when I checked how many F-16 that Egypt has. They have 200 and something F-16s. Why Nigeria has 0? And their budget, their defense budget is $40 billion. $4 billion. While Nigeria is just about $4 billion. So I was like, why? Why do they have more soldiers? They have more F-16. We spend the same money, we don't have anything. And this is why I worry about the President Tinubu negotiating power, because we don't have very good negotiators. We seriously need to recruit and train negotiators in Nigeria. That's a skill that I don't think we actually have, because we don't sign good deals. Our trade deals are bad. This AGOA thing, I don't know why we need AGOA, because 25 years, look at where we still are. It's still, we don't even export anything from Nigeria. What is the use of AGOA? We don't export anything. Many African countries don't export anything. It's like they give you the opportunity to export. Come, export to us. Then they will cripple your leg from being able to export anything.
Yeah, the problem is, like, I think like countries like Nigeria and Africa needs to have like some kind of a union, you know what I mean? Economic union where things can be exported to African countries first. They need to, like, do internal export within the continent first.
I think it has to be finished products, because they made a deal a few years ago where they could exchange, raw materials, resources, but it's not going to go anywhere significantly. Unless it's about industrializing and being self-sufficient.
It's not going to encourage innovation, and it's not going to encourage manufacturing, right? Like if Nigeria is exporting, let's say, Nigeria has peanut. Nigeria makes peanut butter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That
we make our own version of peanut. Yeah, we make our own version of peanut butter that's spicy, right? I don't know if you guys remember.
In Nigeria, you mean?
Yeah, we have so many different
kuli and so many of those things. What's the name of the other one?
And so many different kinds of stuff.
Gala is manufactured in Nigeria.
Even Gala. Like, we have exotic fruits, man. You can't find anywhere in the world.
Yeah, cherry is the
guava. I mean, I ate guava when I was very young.
Odara, they call it Odara in Nigeria, but it's like I've never seen it in any other part of the world. That is uniquely this in African Nigerian. So what else is there even? We do have a lot of stuff that we've not exported, and that is just food stuff. We barely even export yam from Nigeria. We barely even some people say we export to the US, but I've not seen it in the UK. It's only Ghana yam we see in the UK all the time. The other area I think we could have been able to export is low value mechanical items, even cutlass, knives, what they call it, gearing material, steel, all those things. Just lightly manufactured goods, tires, all those sort of things. We should be able to be making them in Nigeria now.
And that's what I'm saying. Like industries, even if it's medium scale or small scale industries or factories, like making finished products, like tires. That's what actually makes economies to become very productive. But what happens is that all these African countries, they rarely trade in terms of finished products from their own countries. Then unfortunately and tragically, like, these African countries are not self-sufficient. What makes a country very robust and strong is when the country is self-sufficient. A lot of these African countries are not even self-sufficient.
Well, how can we spend more than $1 billion in R&D projects every year in Nigeria? 1 billion. If I had $1 billion on R&D project, even if it's 500 million, every year I will be outputting one new export that Nigeria is going to be exporting. Because you're going to develop, if it's tire manufacturing, you get the equipment that you need to manufacture it, have this is supply chain for it, the raw materials. We have most of them, bitumen and all those things that we need in Nigeria to make it. Then finalize the process that you're going to use to manufacture tires. Boom, that's one. The next year, another big one again. You'll be all over to Africa.
Nigerian music is very popular, right? This could be a conduit to promote other products. If you have Wizkid promoted, Nigerian, Nigerian fruits, exotic fruits. Those guys can serve as conduits. Their music is playing everywhere. I'm telling you, nowhere in the world they love their music everywhere in the world, in East Europe, in the islands, everywhere. Like, I'm surprised. Like, people that play their music, Nigerian music, I'm like, what the hell? I'm shocked. I get shocked when I hear people play Nigerian music. You know what I mean? So the music is very popular. They could use it as a conduit to promote other products. I mean,
that is true now, because isn't that how Dr. Dre was able to promote the headset that he made.
Yeah.
So you can see with the star power mixed up with the products that is being manufactured in Nigeria, it can be sold.
Yeah, but the problem is that
don't manufacture anything.
Make all these products, these economically viable products, there are political reasons why that cannot be allowed. Even if, yeah, we are also responsible for some of these things, but there are also political reasons why
Like
this
what
cannot be afforded.
you know what somebody once said. He said Africa, I've forgotten what video that was. I've tried to find it. He said Africa is used by many Western countries and many countries around the world as a dumping ground for their outdated technologies. So, and in other words, if you want to start manufacturing new things now, you're countering that, and that could be a problem. Maybe that's why you don't see a lot of new manufacturing happening in Nigeria, because fairly used cars are a big market in Africa. Fairly used clothes, surprisingly clothes, are a big one in Africa too. So many things that we use, substandard stuff like military technology, very, very substandard aircrafts are the ones that are sold to us. Like I said, even in simple Egypt has 200 and something F-16. Nigeria doesn't have one. They always sell us the old aircrafts and the ones that are, outdated. So it's something that if you want to start manufacturing, you have to be aware that you need to challenge these forces that want to use us as a dumping ground.
Yeah, if Nigeria was into military industrial, if Nigeria's military industrial complex is developed, there are places where they could test out their weapons. They could try it in the Ukraine war. That's what the West is doing right now. They're using that as
you
a
would think Nigeria, exactly. You are right there. You would think Nigeria will be
weapons.
volunteering its soldiers and say, go and get experience fighting the first world conflict. They will be learning how to use drones and all those things.
You don't even need to export your soldiers. You can just invite some people that actually serve there to come train your soldiers on how to, you know what I mean, on that kind of warfare, because it's a different type of
But
warfare.
it's not the same thing. That you have to experience it. I think if you experience it, then you become more war hardy. Because now your soldiers have been in the battlefield, they will bring other knowledge home, bring how the technologies are being deployed in. These are the kind of things we need to be getting involved in, like get involved in first war conflict, having experience and bringing it back home and training the ones at home and say, this is how it's done, this is how they are using drones. There was one thing I read online, it was so fascinating because they were talking about how they use drones, how the North Koreans try to kill Ukrainian drones. If you had never present in that war, you would never know how to do that. So the way they did it was that, like when drone is coming to attack them now, they said they would just spread out, like the soldiers would just spread out somehow. Like one of them is going to be used as a target for the drone. So while because the drone is moving, you see, so while the drone wants to target that person, the drone will stop momentarily just to do that. So when the drone stops, then they strike. Then they know how to strike the drone. So these are the kind of things you will not gain this type of knowledge just by thinking about it when you are not in the battlefield itself.
Yeah, there are
like, wow, I never thought about it that the drone has to stop before it fires. Because
they have a jam. They have a way of
they use all those technologies even in Gaza.
Electronically jamming.
Many of those, they have different methods now. They even use fiber optic cable to fly the drones now. Let's say you want to hit 1 kilometer target away or 2 kilometers, they will run the fiber optic cable. So no matter what you do to jam it, you won't work. It's basically connected. It's basically connected directly with wire. So all kinds of different, and that is because they are gaining that experience in the field. But we are not there. We don't have our people there to learn. North Koreans are learning from it. Every experience they get, they say they are killing their soldiers. They are killing North Korean soldiers left and right. So, but they are getting lessons from it and taking it back home to go and tell people that this is how it's supposed to be done.
You don't even need to send your soldiers. Like if Nigeria has like military industrial complex, they can send their weapons. They can give it to Ukraine to test. They can give it to Russia. Give them some money and be like, hey, we're supporting. Supporting you guys.
You are missing the point. If you don't send your soldiers, there's only a limited amount of knowledge you gather from it. Although, if you give them your weapons, yes, I agree with you. It does help because they will report back to you how well your weapon is performing.
You see how
if those people don't like you, if those people don't like you, which we know they don't like us too much, they will give you wrong information. So they'll give you wrong information back while they go and build it for themselves. So there is no substitute for having the experience yourself. You see what I mean? Why do you think North Korea sent their soldiers? You think they couldn't have said, let's see how our weapons work against these people? All the tactics, they developed the tactics to destroy the Ukrainian drones, and the Ukrainians are looking for are having ways to subvert it too. By in that case, they actually killed the North Korean soldiers. They were trying to do that because they knew that that was a trick they were trying to play on them.
Actually, what's going on with the Russia-Ukraine war is very interesting. Like, it's a proxy war. So you have Ukraine on one side, right? And you have a lot of Western European countries on the side of Ukraine with US, You even have some infantry soldiers that are even involved. The same thing with Russia. So you even have some soldiers from North Korea, from Cuba. It's kind of a very interesting proxy war.
Many of these wars, there are foreigners present in the conflict.
Are there,
like
that, man, like it's crazy.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was the same thing in Afghanistan. During the Afghanistan war, there were soldiers from Sweden. Sweden wasn't part of NATO. And Finland, and even Ukraine. Ukraine soldiers were in Iraq. Fighting with NATO. You know what I mean? So
yes,
countries sending people and weapons.
Yeah, even if father said something during his, I think, monologue or something, he said about US now supporting the leaders in Syria. Actually, for decades, it has been a thing since the Cold War, where the US, under the tutelage of the CIA, they've been supporting and backing Islamic extremists. In fact, a lot of the Islamic extremists that we see today, that are causing a lot of the mayhem, they've been trained, supported, and backed by the CIA from the Cold War even up to now. Even the Syria story with the people that have been fighting Bashar al-Assad, the so-called moderate rebels, they were trained, they were backed, they were supported, they were funded, they were supplied weapons by the CIA and MI6. And it has been going on even before, like, they even won. It has been a planned project that has been going on. And that was why, they imposed sanctions, they spread propaganda to demonize that man. I mean, the man was not perfect. He made a lot of that. I criticize him for a lot of for the way he treated his people, for the policies he implemented in the country. I criticize him.
Which man are you referring to? Sorry.
Bashar al-Assad.
Oh, yeah. He made it quite.
But the way they demonized that man was so bad. Like, what has it? I mean, look at we are from Nigeria. Look at our president. Look at what he's doing. Is it worse than what the man did? I mean, have they demonized our president? Like, they demonized him because they didn't like him, because he wanted sovereignty for his people and he was supporting the Palestinian resistance.
Yeah.
They supported all these extremist groups. We're talking about Afghanistan now. Afghanistan was the library. When I said library, it was the, what are they calling it? The headquarters of those terrorists at that time. Even from Afghanistan, they developed people like Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden was a CIA agent. Osama bin Laden was a CIA agent. He was fighting on behalf of Mujahideen. These guys were fighting the Soviets, because these guys, they played a key role into why US today is now the superpower of the world, the sole superpower. This guy, so it's a very interesting thing we can keep talking about. Like, these extremists, they've been like that. I don't know if you guys have heard about the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood was actually founded, supported, and founded by the British MI6 to sabotage the independence of Egypt and other countries that wanted to that were nationalists. The Muslim Brotherhood. They are an extremist, Islamic extremist groups that were in collaboration with, Western countries. So even Hamas that Israel is now fighting now. Hamas, they are fighting now. Hamas is a faction of Muslim Brotherhood. A lot of the resistance fighters, a lot of the resistance states that were trying to have their sovereignty and develop, like Libya, Hamas, they wanted the killing of Gaddafi. So it's very complex. But all these guys, some of them are now enemies of the West now, but actually, they actually help the West to make it have some of the power that it has now.
The thing is, you have to give it to America. Say whatever you like. Almost every relationship you have with America often ends up benefiting them, because when you have, unlimited amount of money to buy anybody whenever you like and kill them whenever you like, you always end up at the top. All these groups, whatever relationship they have with the West, they are not thinking clearly. They think they can outplay America one way or another. You can't. And the only way you can deal with America is the way like the North Koreans, this is China, Russia, maybe even India is dealing with it. You have to deal with them based on your own strength. Don't think you can outmaneuver them. Like you're not going to get away with it. So from the point of view of what was happening recently, the Chinese, there's this video that was released. Let me see if I can share it so you can see about
Yo,
this aircraft.
by the way,
This is their
to
jet fighter.
Boom Boom Ray, you don't have to have spare parts. You can actually import them and then they do your own assembling.
Look at that. You can see whatever I like about Bobo Ray, you know. What it is talking about everything that Bob once it comes to Israel. Of course he doesn't like Israel. Okay, let me play this. This is the video of a Chinese aircraft that came out recently. It seems to be making a lot of noise. Like it's giving Americans a bit of concern. Let me play this video quickly. Now I will show you what some people are saying about it. It's funny because I don't know what they expect or that China is going to be using fifth generation. China is just as advanced as the West right now, and they are probably going to overtake them in the coming years. I don't know what they expect to be seen though. Like China is going to be making primitive aircraft.
We
Yeah,
can't hear
don't
her.
get copyright strike, man.
So I would say that China has definitely ended 2024 on a high, on a very impressive note, unveiling its groundbreaking sixth generation stealth fighters during test flight over Sichuan on December 26th. So, of course, the development is very significant, but apart from that, we also have to pay attention to the date. The date was chosen to align with Mao Zedong's 131st birth anniversary, and I do feel that this is somehow linked in a way that how China is trying to signal that it is moving towards modernization, it is moving towards its goal that were kind of put forth since the PRC was established. So these jets, alongside the launch of the Type 076 amphibious assault vessel, mark a striking leap in China's military advancement. So what is important to note here that there has been no official announcement from the Chinese side, and this could just be a prototype and still a lot of new technologies to be inducted in the fighter jet. However, this is still a leap for China, and this does indicate towards China leading in air power superiority and might be on its way to surpass the US in air power in military superiority.
But this is the significance of what they are saying there. They are concerned that China is about to emerge supreme in military aircraft, especially military aircraft. The fascinating thing about military aircrafts is that if you dominate the sky, you can do what Israel is doing basically do it to the Middle East, bomb whatever you like, go into people's territory and come out whatever you like. So, and the thing I wanted to say about this aircraft that is fascinating to most Western observers is that as a stealth aircraft, it has 3 engines, while the ones the Americans have is 2 engine based. So they don't understand why the Chinese put 3 engines there. So why just make it harder for them? So that it must have some advantage for them in terms of the way it operates, and maybe even when you blow out one engine, it's more likely to still be in the air, while the American one will be down. And that kind of edge means that when they engage in any conflict in the air, in terms of air superiority, they may be able to come on top. If And the reason why this is even significant at all is because America is the superpower of the world. Because normally other nations can get technology that is more advanced than other countries just by buying it from another country. But because America is the top in the world, like I said, they have endless cash supply. If China gets any slight advantage, even close to them, it's extremely dangerous from the point of view of flipping the world this in order. Not to mention if China surpasses them. And this is why all this, for me, this is why they are making so much trouble now. Because they know if they don't drag China into a fight right now, they are going to lose it in 5-10 years' time. Because China is advancing way too fast. A lot faster than them. And right now, China is not going to fight anybody. China is just going to beat them with what they normally beat us with, time. Like it or not, China wants to beat them with time. China is not going to beat them physically. China is going to do exactly what they do to us. And we need to learn how to fight this about fight. Maybe
You
even
think
the
that
Middle
is
East need to
dangerous to
learn it.
China itself?
Pardon?
Don't you think that's dangerous to China itself?
The only danger that will pose to China is Chinese government itself. If the Chinese government falls internally, that will be the only danger. All they have to do is just just keep building and just wait out America. If America attacks them first, the whole world will not blame them for replying. So all they have to do is just sit back and trade with the rest of the world and keep building. And they are building stronger and stronger. In 5-10 years' time, it will be clear they have the
It's
superiority.
interesting what the West is doing, because they are not actually they're not actually making any aggressive move yet. They are focused on the Middle East and Russia,
Oh, the West
Why
is
do you
making
why do you say so? I hope you understand. Go take a time and study how many Americans say in terms of
Oh no,
their
that's not what I'm
military.
saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm
So what
saying
are you
is
what
they've
are you
not thrown
saying? If
missile into China. They've not started throwing
no, I don't understand. Look at all the big wings and everything anywhere you can think of. Look at
No, that's not what I'm
you.
saying. What I'm
So
saying
what are
is
you?
there
No,
is no
no,
war. China is not fighting a war with America right now. There's no
no.
crossfire in Taiwan.
China is
They've contained China, but they're not
China
fighting
is
China.
not fighting, but at the same
That's what I'm
time,
saying.
they are trying to contain China.
Yes,
Sometimes when
correct. So, yeah,
when
you're
they
right.
push you, just like
But
what
that
they are
was
doing with what they did with Russia, same thing they're doing with China. Same thing they're even doing with India, because India is trying to play smart, try to make relationship with the global West and the global East at the same time. So that's why you see continuously America will have good relationship with Pakistan, they will write off debt, whatever, to contain India. Then when you look at China, they put all this military base in South Korea, put all this military base in Japan. Another way around, they are compressing you. You understand? And remember, when you talk about America, naturally, they stay in their own comfort zone. That's why they have issues with countries like Cuba. They put American Samoa, Puerto Rico, all these other small islands to even protect themselves. Nobody go close to them. But whenever people that they presume that you are enemy, they go close to you. They make every country around you their friend. They give them all type of support. That way, apart from military weapons and everything, they use it to have edge. You understand? Their economic strength and their military might. You
Well,
understand? And
you
they've
need to
trained.
understand. Yeah, you need to understand most of the countries that the United States are using to contain China, right, are under a democracy, right? What that means is,
But the point I'm even making is that
if
China
the
is not
United States,
fighting the war.
yeah, if the
China is
United
not
States,
fighting the war right now. They
no,
are
no,
not
if the
fighting.
United States,
I
if the
agree.
United States installs a regime, right, like let's say, I mean, look at what's going on in South Korea, right? The puppet of the West he was impeached, right? So and look at what's going on in Philippines, right? The
No,
current president
but
of Philippines.
the same people is singing, one corner of the same people is singing that Trump will come rescue them out. So it's still the same West. You understand? So it's like playing party game. Oh, I have this one is for Democrat and the other one is for Republican. So the US is still winning. Do you get my point? So in essence of it, that's exactly what forefather is saying. What forefather is saying is that you take it or you leave it, the US is still winning.
No,
You understand?
what I'm saying,
They are
what I'm
still there,
saying
they
is,
still have this edge. So
if you
all
look at
China need to do, what China need to do, that's exactly what forefather is saying. China is just closing their door. They want to use time to achieve this purpose. So which means they
well,
still need to do more and more and more.
that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, if you look at the Philippines is running a democracy. The current president, right, once his term is done, it's gonna probably go back to the previous administration. They might take over, and then they will undo everything that was done by the current administration. I forgot the name of the current president. When he undoes that, you know what I mean? It's just going to be the same thing. The United States will try to
Yeah,
impose, try to support another, extremist right winger that will come in
yeah.
and bring back the same
I
policy.
think
So these countries are running democracy like the South Korea, Japan. Who knows? There might be a political change there that will undo all these things. You know what I mean? All this.
But for over close to 70 years now, that has not been undone. That's the problem.
Not for Japan. I don't
that
know.
is it.
Not for
See,
Japan at all.
the people, because of democracy,
Definitely
have
not
come to
Japan.
stay in some of this land for so long. The people, one side of the people can compromise. They can betray themselves, just like as the way Bola Tinubu will betray the whole of West Africa for his own interests. You understand? That's how it is. You understand? So one corner, people might do one thing, the other people will do another thing. It's just going to take time. But where I will agree with forefather, it's just time. Just keep doing your thing. You understand? But for now, if you think that you're going to achieve anything, I don't think so, because the financial strength, you understand, they've compressed these people. Look, how do you want to explain putting all this military base in all this place? We're talking about the satellites, you understand, up there. So which means technically it's like they see your nakedness. You understand? They see everything that you are doing from sky, from the satellites. Then they even put the military base come close to you. Do you see any military base come close to America? When Russia tried to make one small relationship with Cuba, till today, the enmity still stands. You understand? They say it will never, ever happen.
Yeah,
You understand? So
it's
these
the
are the
name of the
things.
game now. Let me share something that will open our eyes a little bit. You see, this is some of the things I talk about, something that other Nigerians don't tend to. I know you guys here tend to agree. Look at China. Look at what Biden is doing. You see, these Democrats are evil, I tell you. Look at what Biden is doing. All these globalists. He's blocking Japan, an ally, from buying a steel company in America. Get
America
his
first.
reasoning. Look at how they behave now. Look at what
Yeah.
he say. You see, this is why I have to admire Oyibo people. These people, they know when their bread is buttered. There are people at the top mumus. Look at what he said. He says, as I have said many times, steel production and the steel workers who produce it are the backbone of our nation. Then he said in his statement, a strong domestically owned and operated steel industry represents an essential national security priority and is critical for resilient supply chain. And yet these same people will tell you to sell all your stuff to them.
No. They
You
even
have
want
to
to
give it to
sell
them,
grain
man.
to us. The Nosanto, the GMO. They want to sell grain to us.
I'm telling you, man. You
That
have to give
tomorrow
it
they
to
will
them.
say one president didn't agree, then they stop selling grain. One time
Yeah.
the northern and
You
threatening
know
us in
what,
the south.
guys? If we elect, let's say Peter Obi, I'm not a fan of Peter Obi. Let's say Peter Obi comes into power and he reverses a lot of Tinubu's policy and he decides that okay, our resources should be nationalized or it should be owned by the Nigerian state or by private individuals that are Nigerian within Nigeria. Guess what? That's when you see them start calling Peter Obi some different kind of names. Some investigations that you've never had before, they will start having it against him.
Yes.
They will start using some of these open cell militias like Biafra, wherever, Boko Haram. They will destabilize the country. All this funny. So this is, it's just crazy.
So one thing first, there. That's exactly what North Korea is doing. Love of a nation. First of all, if you must do all those things, also respect your people. And that same strategy, America used the same strategy for themselves, and it's working for them. Do you understand what I mean? America used the same strategy. America, at the end of the day, they still have love for themselves. This funny thing that they will do, that they kidnap one America anywhere, they show all this might and everything. Inside themselves, when it becomes family issue, it's a different ball game. You understand? Then the politician, one strategy that they do, they give this strategy of you can talk down on the politician in America, not a problem. But this one that somebody just talked down to Tinubu, they charge you a treason felony and every other nonsense. So politicians fall for it.
The thing is, America is doing isolationist policy, right? Even though they're the ones that started the whole globalism thing to benefit.
Yeah, they now use a fancy word for it. It's called protectionism.
Protectionism. Yeah. It's an isolationist. It's an isolationist economic policy, right? And believe it or not, I've read something a while ago that I still hold to my heart. This guy said the United States of America in the future will become isolated. You know what I mean? Due to its policies, the whole world would isolate United States of America. Dude, I mean, if you look at Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump's policies, isolationist. He's trying to impose tariffs on Canada, on the neighbors. You know, look at his isolationist policies,
Canada,
right?
Panama. What's the other one?
I think
And
we
then
have to be careful,
Mexico,
though,
Mexico was going
because
to impose action on Mexico.
Mexico.
eccentricals. You
Yeah.
see, the way I always I caution myself whenever I try to dismiss America is that when you are a superpower for such a long time and history has shown that you won the First World War, won the Second World War, it's hard to underestimate such a people and think that they will just
That is
go
true.
to the
U.S. did
wilderness
not win the
and
First
die.
World War. I don't
It's
know
not going to
what's
happen.
reversing its history you are giving us.
No,
You know?
the reason why I'm saying that is because China would do all those things, but if you look at what they are doing now, what the West is doing now, they are trying to almost assimilate or tie their alliances to all the other nations that China will need to work with, like with Nigeria. You see how France is going deep into Nigeria, and many countries like Angola. Biden was there. Although they are trying to tie their alliances tight with these people,
Yeah,
so
but
that
you need to
China
understand.
doesn't have access to them as much.
You need
So
to
while
understand.
China is getting stronger, it's not going to be easy to just
You need to understand.
untie
It's
all those things from the West.
it's capitalism, right? A capitalist wants to make profit, and there's China. There's capitalism, and then there's China. The Nigerian importer, right, that wants to import, let's say, grains or wants to import car parts, will not go to Sweden to import or America to import car parts, because car parts here that he's buying for like $2 a pop, he will get it in from China for 0.24 cents. Where do you
That is
think?
true.
Because his motive is to make profit. Do you think he's going to come here to do it because of geopolitical reasons? No, he's going to go over there to import the car parts so he can double the money. Triple his money or quadruple his money. That's capitalism. So the capitalism, it's a two-edged sword, right? The other edge of it, it's going to affect the West. It's what it's affecting the West, right? That's how China is winning. Like right now, they are making electric vehicles, right? That's sold for $10,000. You know what I mean? Car that's like the same spec as
wow, that's
BYD now take over Tesla. It's number one EV.
Europe. They're taking over Europe. Like if you go to the UK, most of their buses are BYD buses, right? Even here in the United States of America, and if you go to California, all the buses there are BYD buses, right? So like all that needs to happen is if this guy stopped their protectionist policies, their electric vehicle would just flog the United States of America. Like you can afford that without even putting down large amount of down payment and then paying exorbitant amount every month. That's $10,000. You look at $10,000 to get a car that's the same thing as the Tesla.
You know the funny part, even with 100% tariff, it is still cheaper than to buy an American car.
Imagine that. 13,000, 100%. That's like 26,000, and it's still cheaper than Tesla. Like the lowest Tesla.
Elon Musk seems to be playing a smart game. Could that be part of the reason why he got into politics? Because this man now has a lot. His value has gone up and everything, and he might leverage his access to power now to gain more foothold in electric car market.
No, forefather, the American way, they are losing Africa when it comes to cotton and lithium. Now they discover that they have a lot of reserve in Greenland. That's why it's working with Trump. How they can use Denmark, threaten Denmark or whichever way to go get. Because see, the African market, the big mistake the US is making. This threatening and trying to make our politician real thief and protect the thief. You understand, but not put anything on ground. Those days is almost slowly. You understand? We come and gone. You understand the way Nigeria is going. If Nigeria suffer another 100%, I'm telling you, people will protest enter Aso Rock. That's how the country is going slowly. So the era where you think you protect the big man to take advantage of the people, China have a very good strategy. Russia have a very good strategy. They come, they develop, they do everything. They don't talk anything about your politics. How you want to govern your people is up to you. You understand? China own is that they come with this gigantic project and also ship their own labor to also take their money back. But at the end of the day, you see something tangible. You see a structure on ground. Like today, you want to give it to the Minister of Interior and Aviation, Festus Keyamo and the other guys. It is all the things that China is doing. The airports that we're proud of, these are the things that China built. Tell me any infrastructure that you give to America, other than we send our kids to go school there. Then they leave us to buy house there. Then over time, they threaten you with the house that they're going to seize it or you compromised. You understand? So America still don't want to change strategy. Or they still think, they still believe they'll use this CIA, this media to bully you and threaten you. You understand? They have not. America is still not ready to work with you to give you anything. You understand?
It's really
Even
sad,
when they
isn't
have
it?
much to give, but they are not ready to give.
But is it not sad though that to watch that kind of behavior, or is it that they have not been pressed hard enough? Because okay, my reasoning is that
it's for their own geostrategic reason. It's still not really clear what those reasons are.
No, the reason why
but also in as much as we blame them from their own end, then from our own end, which will have problem. Look at Nike today. Do you understand? They produce good percentage of Nike in Egypt. You go to Walmart, look at all these clothes, all these things. They produce this in Egypt. You understand? So we are
that's part of the exploitation. That's outsourcing.
No, I'll tell you another funny thing again. See, when ship bring cargo to the US, they literally go almost empty. Nearly all the vessels that come to the US, like Nigeria, they literally almost go empty. Sometimes maybe less than 10%. You understand? Now, what the US do, the US give China a lot of money to take back recycled plastics, all these plastic bottles and everything. China said they have a lot. The former president in the Philippines, the former one, they were taking $1 billion. This other guy came said, no, we don't want no more. They don't need America to come dump all the waste here. You understand? This same plastic, we're picking it in the streets in Nigeria and we recycle. We can also strategize. But guess what? Even when Buhari tried to go take this $1 billion, guess what? They might bring these vessels and everything. This vessel stays for days just to even dock in our seaport. You understand? So we have our own peculiar problem, because if we choose to say we don't want to only steal, we want to ask for low-hanging fruit, they are still willing to give to us if we ask. We are like the prodigal son, the senior son, who never asked for, complaint to the father that your son will take his inheritance, spend it, you still welcome him back. We are like the senior son. We don't ask for anything. All we do, send our kids to go school and buy all the posh houses and keep it there. That's all we do.
Well, is it that we don't ask though? Are we sure we don't ask? Maybe when we ask, they lock you in the head and bring some other person.
It's not really peculiar to Nigeria. It's a common thing. So do you now think that all the so-called African leaders don't ask?
Exactly. That's
my hard to believe.
You would think one of them would have asked and said, okay, one of them will be as developed as South Korea right now. There's not one country in Africa that can boast of that. Is it because we are not that important to them yet? Maybe when China,
how did Egypt fight this fight?
Let me finish the point, because I'm thinking that maybe when China squeeze them hard enough, they'll be like, this is bad though. Maybe we should start working with Africans. Maybe, because look at how they are working with the Chinese and the Japanese and the South Koreans and the Taiwanese. They enable them to, as a matter of fact, they fund them, they back them to develop very, very, very well. Why did they not do the same?
That's a good point. Like, that's a good point. You know what I mean? If they see, like I said, if you remember when Blinken invited all the leaders from Africa, right, to give them money. You know what I mean? That was his way of like countering the whole Belt and Road Initiative. You know what I mean? How many billion dollars? Yeah, so they're gonna want to compete, but I mean, you're competing with China. You know what I mean? China policy isn't necessarily about just making profit. That's not what they want. They want like 50-50, share. Like if I give you this, I want exactly the same thing. But that's not how capitalism works. You know what I'm saying? That system is what's working against the West. They want to give you one thing and get three things back. because that's what the
See,
capitalists want. You know what I
I
mean?
think
He wants
China
to.
wants the same thing. China is just using
No,
that technique right
China
now
is not
to at
devaluing your
least
currency.
rise up.
China is not devaluing
For,
your currency just to trick
father,
you. You know what I
but
mean?
China never
I'll lend
threaten
you
you.
money and they buy
China
your
never do
currency.
anything. We are talking
Because
about,
if
see,
they do it now, they are going to lose ground. If they do
father,
it now, you can't
this
do it now.
our politician, you think if you and I know this information, you think this politician don't know. They know. They threaten them. Their hands are tied. Just like if you want to look this Edo State, their hands
That's
are
the
tied.
point.
Their hands are tied. But in as much as their hands are tied, there are other strategies that you can use. The Mexican, the new president in Mexico, they say certain things when Trump threatened and everything. The lady said, all the crime that is going on in Mexico, all the old guns are coming from the US. So if my drugs is coming here, you fund the guns that they use in doing the drugs and everything. You talk. Then when the woman say another thing, the woman say, I don't want closed door. Let's come open. Let's come open. Let's not talk closed door. You understand? You run to your CNN and your Fox News to go bully us. You come out. Let us go to the Fox News and the CNN. Let's talk open. You understand? So there are strategies. There are things you need to say, you need to do. But oftentimes our politicians, they just get scared because they know that they themselves, their hands are not so clean, that these people can use their opposition to. It's already
Yes.
threatened. They threatened Obasanjo. Jonathan, you see the way Jonathan give in easily to Buhari. Another funny thing, let me tell you, this is just a low-hanging fruit, just low. During Obasanjo's time, this gay thing is not as strong like now. When they tell Obasanjo, oh, this gay thing and everything, Obasanjo, first of all, the Secretary of State then, I think it was John Kerry. Yeah, I think it was Kerry. Obasanjo tell Kerry, said, I don't talk to you, I deal with presidents. If you want to tell me this type of thing, go talk to my minister. Don't tell me. Then Obasanjo say, but hold on. If you want to talk about gay, in Africa where we come from, plus myself, I have so many wives. Obasanjo said, there are 50,000 Nigerians that come to him every day and say they want to marry one wife. The day you allow my Nigerians in America to marry more wives, I can approve you're gay.
Exactly. That's a fair one.
As stupid as that word can be, that's how it is. You understand? Trump today, if not because of he also followed the system, what is the difference between Trump and my grandfather, who see another woman and divorce his first wife, said she didn't do anything? Who see another woman and divorce his second wife, that she didn't do anything? Because he has to respect the law of bigamy. So if you can respect your own law, how can you come to my country and not respect my own law?
Exactly.
Do you get my point? Now, so these are the things. But our people, they get panicked. That's why they can't tell you that, oh, they're going to sanction you this, they're going to sanction. You to use their own word. Mr. Trump, you marry several women. You understand? You have 5 kids from 3 different women. You understand? And you even marry and you let them go. Why do you do that? You respect your law. Because if you said your first wife didn't do you anything, if you were to follow the Nigerian law, you'd have kept that woman. But you punish the woman because you have to respect laws. So there are so many things we can do with all these things. You understand? And use your word well.
Let me make an announcement. For those that want to continue watching, because we are on the 3-hour mark, that we are supposed to stop the live stream on Iroko Post TV. I think there should be another show coming up, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm not. Let me confirm. Actually, there might be another show on this, so I will need to stop this on this live stream. And if you want to carry on watching, you want to come over to the link that I shared on the screen. It's on the 2 Niger channel. Just click the link. I will see if I can share it again so that you can be able to click and join us from there. Let's see. That is the link there, if I'm not mistaken. So click that link and you'll be able to carry on watching, because I'm going to stop it on the channels on Ingenja Media TV. We have some people there and we have some people on Iroko Post TV. So join us on that. But before that, let me just play this, some of the areas we're going to be covering. Is this something we should expect to see more in America now, something like this? Because the last time we saw things like this, it was
fatally beating inmate Robert Brooks at Marcy Correctional Facility in New York. Brooks died the next day on December 10th. In the footage, the officers shove something in Brooks' mouth, punch, and kick him. This is an excerpt from footage showing multiple beatings inflicted on Brooks that resulted in his death. He was handcuffed with his hands behind his back during the incident. New York Governor Kathy Hochul released a statement saying that she was, quote, outraged and horrified after seeing footage of the senseless killing of Robert Brooks.
So, yeah, is this something we are going to be seeing more of? In the meantime, let me just end the live stream on Iroko Post TV first. Like I said, if you are watching on Iroko Post TV, follow the link, and it's on the chat there, and join us on True Niger. I'm removing it now, so it's going to stop on Iroko Post TV. Done now. I'm going to stop it on Ingenja Media. If you are watching on Ingenja Media, it will stop playing, the live stream will stop, and you can join us on True Niger. I'm putting it off now. That is that. So to carry on watching, you want to join us on the link I shared